What is up, guys and gals? Welcome to a special Christmas treat in that, obviously we take the week of Christmas off, but for you guys, you still get a little treat, and that is a compilation of not necessarily our favourite moments from the retro and the review, but definitely some of the better moments.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nonsense review in review.
No, that would have happened last Friday.
Yeah, so this is just so it's come to this, another Simpsons clip show.
Pretty much. Those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be familiar with all of these moments because they're the clipped moments that I upload every Saturday, basically just compiled in one big compilation. If you're listening via the audio platform, it's your special Christmas treat. It's just what we consider good standout moments for you to enjoy. So, yeah, enjoy.
Hope you like ghosts. The idea is they want 666 quarts of human blood. This runs until the 20th of November, and if they meet the target, then they unlock things in-game.
How much is a quart?
A quart is a quarter of a gallon. Americans have short gallons, so it's a quarter of 6 pints.
And what's that in English?
So 1.5 pints, I think. So
okay, what is that in litres?
Okay, so let's do some quick calculation.
I'm very sorry, people, but okay, Rick, do you want to explain to the audience why measurements in the UK are fucking ridiculous? Because you're correct, most people do still use pints, especially the older generations, but I was brought up on litres, and I work exclusively in that.
So we still use pints in the world. When, if you go to a bar, you still get a pint. But it's a weird thing where, while the metric system was brought in, not everything converted to it, including roads. Roads are still in miles.
And if you weigh a person, it's in stone, which no fucker in the world uses apart from the UK.
Yeah, we're the only ones that use stones. And I find it really weird, though. Americans do this like all the time with all the measurements that they have. Like, they don't rank up to the next thing. Like, they won't rank up. If they say that someone is however many feet and inches tall, half the time, if it's below a certain amount, they'll just say, like, 43 inches, which I think is fucking stupid. It's like when you say a baby is, like, 96 weeks old. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Wait, sorry, in America, they don't use feet in inches, they just say the height in inches.
For requirements, they just say inches, which is fucking silly. So, like, if you got a ride, you must be at least 43 inches tall, or 54 inches tall. It's fucking silly. And I can't get my head around it either. And also, if you have an American sat-nav, it says things in numbers of hundreds of feet. So, like, yeah, I can kind of mentally convert it into yards, which is essentially like 90% of meters. So if they say in 800 feet, then that's a bit less than 300 yards, which is a bit less still than 300 meters. But I still would rather them say it in yards or meters.
Rick, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is out. That's a thing.
Is it? Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Oh man, I've not been to the cinema in a long time.
I can't imagine this film is going to be good. I'm not invested in it. I'm surprised the fucking thing got made.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It sounded like a meme pick that was not going to get made, and now it's been made. I'll be honest, I'm way more interested in the Megan sequel that's coming out in like 2 years than I am in Five Nights at Freddy's.
The what sequel?
Megan, the killer robot doll lady.
I've not heard of this.
Oh, okay. So it was like February last year or something that it came out, and it was actually a lot more fun than I was expecting it to be. I think one of our mutual friends watched it as well, but yeah, it was a fun movie about a killer doll robot who was slightly creepy, tangentially related to the FNAF creatures in that they're also essentially scaled-up Furbies, but taken in a different direction.
It's one of those where I feel like you might be setting yourself up for disappointment, because I remember the reboot animated movie of the Addams Family being surprisingly good, but that's because I had no expectations, and the second film, because I had the expectations of the first film, was just shit.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think my favourite thing about this movie coming out is I saw a post on 4chan where someone said, I swear to fucking God, if the line, guys, you don't understand, they were actually protecting us, is said in this film, I'm done.
Yep. Oh man. Because I think that is actually just like a plot point, isn't it? They just think that's what what they're doing is correct. That's like part of their programming.
Well, yes, okay, listen. We're not a Five Nights at Freddy's podcast. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. However, the game series is up to like 6, I think, and the lore crafters
Minimum.
who have thousands of views because people, for some reason, give a fuck about this game. Because I guess it's the Dark Souls reasoning of, oh, we don't know anything. We have to piece it together ourselves, which I'm using the Dark Souls thing as a loose allegory because I don't think the two are even remotely comparable, because it's quite clearly the guy is just coming up with... He's purposefully obscuring information because he hasn't decided yet. Anyway, I'm getting off track.
Yeah, comparing it to Dark Souls is charitable in terms of the lore characterization.
Yeah, the first game establishes, because I actually saw some people play that, because the guy on the tape recorder goes, basically, when one of the animatronics sees you, they think that you are also an animatronic, and they think you are out of your suit, so they stuff you back inside your suit, and that obviously kills you because you're made of meat.
Yes, and that's why it works to have a Freddy head in the second game.
Sure.
But yes, I'll be interested to see if this is A, passable, and B, becomes one of the cult classics of the Zoomer generation.
I think it's going to get some decent numbers just based on the fact that it's come out a week before Halloween.
Oh yeah, it's the spooky thing that came out of Halloween. That is good. It's going to get numbers. Like, I remember the very first Saw, the only Saw that I've seen, came out around Halloween.
Yeah, and that film's not even particularly horror-y.
No, it's just you have a bit of psychological stuff, and it just is a gory movie. I'd say things like Silence of the Lambs is not even that much of a horror movie. Like, the dark side of it is, oh man, is this person going to survive? And, well, a lot of them do.
Rick, there was mutilated corpses frequently in that film.
Okay, but, like, it's not one killer hunting down multiple people and you get to see them murder them multiple times.
But what you're describing as a slasher.
Yes.
That's different to horror.
Okay.
I mean, it's a subgenre of horror, but horror is a bit more sophisticated, shall we say. I'm not going to get into this debate on the podcast because there is nuance there, which I myself am not well equipped enough to speak, and you are a self-confessed not a fan of horror.
Sure.
We're not authorities, so we're not talking about it. Rick, I sent you a link earlier in the week, and I'll sum it up as those fucking Etsy witches are at it again.
Yes, they are. This is one of the funniest things in the world to me.
It was funny to me, that's why I fucking shared it. So I look at a bunch of shit on Etsy from time to time, and I'm just like, that's cool. And for some reason, I don't know fucking why, I don't know what I've clicked on to get this targeted towards me, but there's a bunch of sponsored fucking shops that are just a witch's curse. Pay us $50 and we'll curse so-and-so. 100% guaranteed to work fast. And it's the weirdest fucking thing. I've never clicked on them, but just seeing the advert for them is funny.
Yeah, like, we will sacrifice a goat on your behalf and all.
Like, the last time this happened, it was to make covenants with demons, and they were asking for like $2,000 to have a covenant with Beelzebub.
Yep.
And it was like, fuck me, that's... Here's the thing, right? It has to have worked on at least one person, otherwise they wouldn't try and do it. And by that, I don't mean the spell works, I mean someone's paid them money. I want to make that very clear. I don't believe in this bollocks.
Yeah, like someone has paid someone some money for this kind of thing, and they're just deciding, oh, well, let's do it. Let's cast the net further afield. The internet is the biggest net that you can cast. It's more catchment area than our local supply of suckers. So, yeah, let's have a go. So that's how I see it working anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing when you take the wider lens and realise that's what's happening. But as a random advert while you're looking at fucking knockoff miniatures of Primarchs, it's pretty funny. Trump smells.
Does he?
Oh, this is the dumbest shit ever. So, a Republican reporter went on record as saying that when he interviewed Trump fucking stunk, and he's surprised no one ever brings this up when talking about Trump. So, cut to the Republicans against Trump putting out a massive political statement and running it across the country of, Trump smells, you don't want a president that smells. To which Trump's team comes out and says, actually, what happened was the interviewer in question farted and he smelled his own fart. So what's happening with the Republican Party right now is literally... Quite literally, someone's just gone, Trump smells, and Trump's defense is, whoever smelt it, dealt it.
Oh, shit, you can't make this up.
It's very weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, boy.
I bought a video game, Rick.
Did you? What'd you get?
I bought Marvel Midnight Suns.
Okay. This is the XCOM one, isn't it?
It's not even... Okay, here's the problem. You're the person who put this on my radar. You're the person who told me it's XCOM. It's fucking nothing like XCOM.
Okay.
It's a fucking card game.
All right.
It's a very fancy, over-the-top card game, but it's a card game. I can understand why looking at certain screenshots you're like, that does look kind of like XCOM, but it doesn't fucking play like it.
Yep. So I was given this information by people who'd only seen the curated footage. So yeah, I had no idea that it was a card game. Man, is it any good?
So here's the deal, Rick. Every map you go onto, you've got a team of 3 heroes. I don't know if that expands and you can have more than 3 heroes, but I feel like if you have more than 3 heroes on the map, you can pretty much beast anything. So probably limited to that. Each hero has a deck of 8 cards, which gives you 24 cards total. So each deck is effectively 24 cards.
Okay.
The enemy does not work on a card-based system. The enemy can just do things.
Right.
So, yeah, each turn you've got to decide what you've got to do. You've got a hand of 5 cards. You can play 3 cards per turn. Some cards have costs, some don't.
Okay.
I'll tell you what it is. I've played this game for a bit now. I think the next mission I do, I'm going to unlock Wolverine because the mission's name is the best at what I do. So, it's not very subtle. It feels like a mobile game that got upscaled.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of things in between missions. There's a lot of basically mechanics I can see that if this was a mobile game, they'd charge you for this.
Yeah.
Like the way you unlock cards, you don't just unlock cards. You get given rewards at the end of a mission. You open the reward. It's an RNG chance on what cards you get. You can pick 2 of the 4 cards that you draw, and that's it. And I can totally see like playing a mobile game, and it's like, you want more cards quickly, motherfucker? Give us $20.
Yeah.
It's also not a team of OCs, because I remember when this first came out, you said basically you pick someone and you give them the Spider-Man moveset or the Ghost Rider moveset. No, you just play as the characters. One of the first characters they give you is Captain Marvel.
Fair enough.
And they make it very obvious that she is the strongest and best character in the Marvel franchise. But yeah, overall, like, despite the criticisms I've laid upon it, and boy do the character models not look good, which is disappointing considering it's a goddamn PS5 gen game.
Yes.
The core gameplay is actually quite addictive. I do enjoy playing it.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm assuming you got it at a significant discount.
Oh yeah, it was on the sale. It was 20 quid,
Yeah.
which isn't the cheapest, but it's pretty cheap for a game that came out literally last year.
Yeah.
2 weeks later.
I've been playing a lot of Midnight Suns.
Yeah, okay.
Mentioned it last week, and someone told me on the interwebs that the DLC is super worth getting, and I was like, it's still on sale for £15 instead of £35. I went, fuck it, let's go in on the DLC.
Yeah. And has it been good?
It's been interesting.
Okay.
The DLC gives you access to 4 DLC characters, and they're all winners, in my opinion. There's one standout one that seemed a bit weak, but once I recruited them, I was like, okay, fuck it, you've won me over. So, the 4 DLC characters are Deadpool. Makes perfect sense to make him a DLC character. He is a fan favourite.
Yes, and he will sell the DLC to people.
He absolutely will. Next up, we've got Venom.
Yep, also another fan favourite who will sell the DLC to people.
Venom is already in the game as a villain.
Okay.
So it's I was like, how the fuck are they going to make this work? And I'll tell you how they make it work a bit later. Another character they add, which is probably the weakest on paper, but as soon as I recruited them, I changed my fucking mind. Morbius.
All right.
And last but not least, probably the only X-Man that you could put in that's not Wolverine, and it's Storm.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 DLC characters. They do this annoying thing that DLC sometimes does, Rick, which is I bought the DLC and I didn't have access to DLC missions. And I kept Googling, how do I access it? Beat this mission. I've beaten that mission. Have I been fucked over? Because I bought the season pass, I have to go to the store and buy all of the individual DLC, except now it's priced as free, which is dumb.
Yes.
But yeah, they all have their unique little gimmicks. I won't go into detail on that. If you've not played the game, you won't really get it anyway.
Okay.
They all play fun. They're all amusing. Whenever we're at the Abbey, which is the hub world, they have amusing dialogue. I give Deadpool a lot of free reign a lot of his humour. If it wasn't Deadpool, I'd be cringing and being like, oh, go away. But because it's Deadpool, he gets a pass. But yeah, let's talk about Venom.
Yeah, let's shall.
You do his recruitment mission. He's blood drunk from eating vampires. Oh, by the way, the DLC adds vampires as enemies, and this is a new enemy type, and this is what the side story deals with, and they're the most frustrating thing in the fucking game.
Okay.
If they attack you, they inflict bleed on random, or they have the chance to inflict bleed on random cards you draw. If you play that card, you give yourself bleed, which isn't the worst debuff in the world. However, if you get inflicted with bleed, instead, random mook minions that go down in one hit have a chance to evolve into regular enemies that have 100 health, which fucking is very annoying.
Yeah.
At the end of Venom's recruitment mission, you get a cutscene where the main player character that you edit is just like, we should kill this creature because he's blood drunk and we can't save him, and Spider-Man's like, please don't, I kind of like Eddie.
Fair.
And then fucking Mephisto shows up and offers a deal, and that deal is he will purge Venom of his blood drunk state, and basically this is how you recruit him, he'll be your ally. In return, you have to destroy the Vampire Menace, and Spider-Man's like, we're doing that anyway, we should take this deal. And the main character dude is like, I know how demons work, and even though this sounds like a good deal, probably shouldn't take it. Because it's a video game, you have to take it, and it's probably not that big of a deal. However, when you walk away, Mephisto goes, I'll see you later, Peter Parker, and then fucks off, and Peter Parker's just, well, he's Spider-Man, he's just like, how does he know my name? And I'm like, oh fuck, they're referencing one of the worst stories ever in the comic books. Anyway, the DLC characters are fun, they are all fun. I weirdly, the least fun DLC character to actually play is Deadpool.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't like his gimmick. Everyone should buy Midnight Suns and play that game. I really am annoyed that I slept on this. It's so fun.
But how about you? What do you think?
Yeah, it was a good episode. Almost definitely a classic. It's weird looking at Marceline now, knowing that she was at least partially inspired by Rebecca Sugar.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
But also just like it makes it feel as if Rebecca Sugar would be pretty chill to hang out with. And now I'm wondering if she plays bass. Well, sorry, they play bass. Anyway,
it sounds like a reasonable character trait to carry over.
I don't know what Rebecca Sugar looks like, but I always assumed, I don't know why, I always just assumed she looked like Pearl, and now I got contrasting information.
She doesn't look like Pearl.
I don't fucking know. You know, whenever you, unless I've seen the creator, the first character I see in their show, I just assume is what the creator looks like. And yes, that is a fucking stupid way of looking at stuff, but my brain cannot handle it otherwise.
So, because Pearl says we, she's definitely Rebecca Sugar.
I think I read once that Rebecca Sugar used Pearl as a semi-self-insert, and I think that's what made me relate the two.
Sure.
But
okay.
I genuinely don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think it's because Pearl does the most Stephen wrangling.
Yeah, she do.
And she, as the real Rebecca, wrangled the real Stephen.
Yeah, who was a background artist on The Owl House.
Yeah.
Or, well, maybe not. Worked on The Owl House. I don't know what fucking job they had. Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Turns out Aardman, the guys in charge of Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, only have enough clay for one more movie, since New Clay Products, the only manufacturer of the nylon-laced clay that they use, I think it's called Newplast, it closed this year, and Aardman bought their entire stock as a parting gift, but nobody else makes it, so they've basically got a stockpile enough for one more movie, maybe a series.
That's not even correct, though, is it? Because they'll just switch clay.
Well, yeah, they'll have to switch to something else. But yeah, we don't know.
I mean, I do know. I'm telling you, that's what will happen.
Sure.
They might like this one particular brand, but if it goes away and they can no longer get any more, guess what? They're just gonna swap. Quite frankly, I think that was actually quite a nice goodwill gesture to just buy the entire stock, because they could have swapped then and probably got a cheaper deal.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yep.
In movie news, I watched Godzilla -1 yesterday.
Okay, was it good?
That was a damn good movie.
Yeah.
So I knew very little about what was going to happen before I went in, but from the brief glimpses I got from the trailer, I assumed what they were doing was they're making Godzilla the first Godzilla movie, but with 2023, assets. And I watched that movie, and that's pretty much what they did. So if you've never watched the OG Godzilla, this is pretty close, but with an updated style, so therefore you might be able to get into it easier.
Okie dokie.
I think the biggest complaint I have is some of the shots from Godzilla from the side while he's just walking look very jank.
Ah, fair enough.
I don't know what was up, because Godzilla looked just good in this movie, but some shots the CG just looked like it was running at 20 FPS in an otherwise 60 FPS film, if that makes sense.
Sure, yeah. Like, look stop motion in something that's not meant to be stop motion.
Not quite that bad, but, there was something off, and I don't know if it was a purposeful stylistic choice, or if it was just whatever technique they were using just didn't come off right. It's a depressing movie, because again, it's Godzilla. There's always been a fundamental message in Godzilla, even when he's just a big goofball fighting other alien monsters, but really hammers home the anti-war message that Godzilla started with,
Yeah, and has always had, and people, whenever they bring it up again, people go, oh, Godzilla's gone woke. No, it hasn't. It's always been about this.
When Godzilla fought the giant sludge monster, yes, it was a wacky, funny, stupid fight, but it was also a message about, hey, maybe we shouldn't pollute the rivers. But, you know, some people just see two giant dumb monsters fighting and that's all they want, and that's fine. On that note, this movie did a really good job with the human story, and I have to point that out because Godzilla's been dropping the ball with that lately.
Yep.
There were points in this movie where I wanted to cry because it was just upsetting and depressing, and it's just something. The legacy movies, they've just dropped the ball every time with the human side of things. I've not cared about any human in the Western films. Rick, the Skull and Bones open beta happened.
Did it? Yeah. So I saw boxes as a pre-order thing when I was going to EB Games when I was in Oz. So yeah, they were there saying, oh yeah, pre-order this, pre-order it now, get a physical copy.
Yeah, so one of the things they're trying to do with the upgraded deluxe version, and it fucks me off that they do this, but it's Ubisoft, so whatever. They've got a few cosmetic things that you get for paying them an extra 40 quid or wherever it fucking is. But one of them is you get to start playing 3 days earlier with the deluxe edition. That bonus goes away pretty much immediately.
Yeah, that bonus goes away in exactly 3 days. All it lets you do is get a leg up on everyone else for 3 days.
It's like, I understand wanting to play a game a bit early, but you shouldn't pay for it.
No, the only time I would say that it's okay to pay for something like that is if, like, you're a Patreon or something.
But that's different, though, isn't it? Because you're not spending 40 fucking quid.
So it's basically a bonus to people who are already supporters, rather than a buy-to-win version of the same thing.
It's not buy to win, it really isn't, because, like, I played the beta. You can only go up to a rank 5 in the beta, and I'm like, fine. The beginning of the game is trash. I don't like the small ships.
We also know Ubisoft will artificially limit progression because they want to sell bonus boosters.
Rick, I've pre-ordered this game. It's already downloaded on my console. I have to wait till midnight today, as of recording, to play it.
Yeah.
They've already got up on the shop all of the premium currency, and I'm like, this is a £70 game.
Oh, shit and chips.
You should not be fucking hawking a premium currency for premium items. Yes, but it's online and you need premium items. Fuck you.
Have we already talked about the thing of Ubisoft executives saying that players need to get comfortable with the idea of not owning their games?
I was not aware of this, but I assume you've got it in your news.
Nah, not even. It was so long ago that it's not even in my chat pad because I thought it happened before I went away. But yeah, one of the executives had at a round table was said, yeah, we want to get people to be comfortable and happy with people not owning their games because Ubisoft likes having a subscription service. They think that they're big enough for a person to be happy with only their subscription service, and once they're paying the subscription, that's just dead money to the person. Therefore, they are not spending individual amounts on games, and therefore that frees them up to buy individual microtransactions in the games.
That's a lovely theory, but they just released a pirate game.
Yeah. Says it on the tin. Yep.
So it's just like, even if it's not on your radar that people will think this is scummy and not play ball, you're releasing the thing that will combat your thing. Like, okay,
yes,
Rick,
exactly.
you and I like to be cute when we talk about this, where we never actually say the word, we always dance around it. But fuck you, if you don't own the game, fucking steal it.
Yeah.
If you paying the company money doesn't give you the thing, you shouldn't pay them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a lot of people's takes on it. Like, even big companies that are more more user focused will also agree to this.
I want to quote Lemmy, the lead singer of Motorhead, who hasn't been with us for nearly 10 years. He got asked a question once by someone saying that they can't afford to buy his CDs, to which he said, alright, fucking rob it then.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing. His publisher has already been paid for the item, which means he's already got the royalties for the item that's been sent out to a shop.
I'm not going to be the guy who's like, every indie developer is good and therefore you should support them. But this is why people lean more towards the indie people, because indie people tend to be actually people who like games and are making games for artistic merit or because they want to tell a story, rather than we need to make money.
It's another part of that is that an indie will probably not be a company yet, or a publicly traded company at least.
I've already bought it, but I actually probably can't in good conscience tell other people to buy this game.
Yet.
They've got a 1 year roadmap. Like they're like, this is a year's worth of content, and I'm like, cool, great.
You've got it planned. Why not accelerate it and make it DLC or whatever?
It's not DLC, no, because it's free.
Oh, even better.
It's an always online game, so you've got. It's like they looked at Destiny and went, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because it makes money, but the players don't like the way that it makes money, but it still makes money. the most interesting birthday present I got was actually from you, and that was Hades. I've started it, and the one more run syndrome is strong.
Oh, it's bad. It gets easier for you, Rick, because when you first start, especially if you're completely new to the game, so you don't have a grip on the mechanics, each run takes about, if you're lucky, you might make a 15-minute run, because, you're just dying that quickly, because you're still getting up, the base level upgrades and different weapons, trying out new things, you're still trying to get grips to it. Later on, once you know what you're doing, a run can take 20 plus minutes, and then it stops being one more run, because you finish a run, you beat the run, and you go, I want to do another run, but I've got to be somewhere in half an hour, and I can't guarantee my build is going to be good enough to get me through the game in less than half an hour.
Yeah, these are very short runs when I'm first starting out, because I've still not beaten Meg.
Oh, okay.
So I'm very new.
Have you tried any of the weapons other than the sword?
I've tried all of them apart from number 6.
There will be a weapon when you pick it up and you go, this is the weapon that if I'm struggling and I need a win, I will pick this weapon.
Yeah. So the ones that I've kind of vibed with, I blame it mostly on what I picked up as a boon, but the shield and the spear, I got a really good boon with them starting out, and that just happened to make them really OP early on.
Yeah, so the shield is the weapon that got me my first clear.
Sure. Yeah, you can just go around Captain America-ing everything, because who cares about the regular attack when your power attack is throw? Pal World, and I've got it written down as the Smug Hate Controversy.
Okay, Rick, I just want to tell you right now off the bat, your opinion, I'm actually putting in high regard for this game, because out of our friend group, I know that you don't lean either way out of pettiness.
Yeah. So, I like the game because it is fun. I appreciate that some of the designs look incredibly lifted. Some people are playing this game as quickly and as frantically as possible, thinking that the entire game is going to go away soon. All I can say is the game probably won't go away. Some of the pals might have to be changed for legal reasons.
Here's the thing, Rick, I just want to put this on record, because we've both said it before, but we haven't said it on the podcast for obvious reasons. If it was anywhere near as egregious, legally speaking, as people like to claim on Twitter or whatever social media they use, you really think Nintendo's gonna sleep on it? The fuckers who take down ROM hacks.
Yeah, they've not even managed to take down PETA's version of Pokemon, where you actually kill the Pokemon for meat, just like you can in Pal World. But these are actually just the likenesses of Pokemon in the PETA version. Like, it's very obviously a Pikachu, it's very obviously a Charmander.
We'll hash up old ground, because we've not done it on the podcast. The only issue I had with Pal World was there was allegations of them using literally AI to design things. That's still been mostly debunked at this point.
Yeah, like, even then, like, you can feed anything to an AI and get something. I can go on Bing today and say, please create me 3 starter Pokemon, 1 fire, 1 grass, 1 water, and it will just create something.
But that's what I take umbrage with, Rick, because no, pay a fucking artist to do it.
And then from that, you've got a design, and you can pay an artist to, like, flesh out the design and make it your own style.
No, you don't use an AI to make the design at all. You use an artist for every step.
Sure, okay.
Rick, we have to agree to disagree.
So I've enjoyed small chunks of this game, only in single player. I'm looking forward to multiplayer now that I'm home. I know one of our friends has a server running, but it's at times that are not going to be useful to you. And also, it's not available on PlayStation yet.
I find it interesting that you say yet, because I was under the impression it was never coming to the PlayStation.
I think their goal is, because it's still technically in early access. I think once it's out of what they're calling early access, that's when they're going to focus on all platforms.
So would you recommend this, Rick?
I would recommend it to people that are okay with getting 1, maybe 2 weekends worth of game out of the admittedly low price.
Yeah, man, I remember when you shared this game, not originally, but like recently, before you went to Australia, and I clicked on it, and I went, it's less than 30 quid, fucking hell.
Yeah, so like, that's what I was saying. Like, if you're okay with getting 1, maybe 2 weekends worth out of it, like actual full weekends, not just like a couple of hours each day. If you're doing a couple of hours each day, you probably might get 1 or 2 full weeks out of it. And then just essentially the content slightly trickling dry. But even then, I've not explored the whole map, mostly because I haven't had time. Like, the amount to play games and do other things has been limited. I would pay a premium for a dumb TV, because everything...
I have a dumb TV. It's not that hard to get one.
Okay, but a good one. Like...
My TV's fine. What do you want about?
Well, it'll be...
It's not 4K. Okay, fine. Whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, like, if you want a big one, you want it 4K, otherwise it's going to look not great.
No, that's just because you're a fucking snob, Rick.
I mean, yes, I am. am. I want the highest resolution that I can get because I'm a super smart.
Well, then you gotta have a smart TV, motherfucker.
Yeah. Basically, it's a choice between a smart TV or a monitor. And if it's a monitor, you have to sit close to it because monitors are, of limited size. With the smart TVs, I would rather have dumb TVs.
Except clearly not. Because if you wanted a dumb TV, you could have a dumb TV, but you don't want to sacrifice the quality, which means your statement is a lie.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't expect to get angry today, but I would like nothing but more than a dumb TV. And it's like, no, if you wanted a dumb TV, you can have a dumb TV. But you don't want a dumb TV, you want the best quality, which means you will choose quality over having the thing you want, which means you're a fucking liar.
Jaffa Cakes.
I'm going to break my my earlier statement of I don't like orange with chocolate, because this is the exception for the rule, because these are fucking lovely.
Well, you get to keep your streak, because these are, I believe, apricot.
It's meant to be Jaffa.
Yeah, so the orangey bit is not actually orange. Apricot.
But they taste like orange. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, it's apricot with orange oil. So, it's got like some artificial orange flavour in there, but the underlying flavour of it is the apricot jam, or apricot jelly, sorry. So yeah, I'm putting these in Bloody Lovely, at least.
Fuck me. The most common form of Jaffa cake is blah inches in diameter. I didn't want to know that. A gin-wise sponge base, a layer of orange-flavoured jam, and a coating of chocolate.
Yeah, it's orange-flavoured.
Orange-flavoured jam, though. It doesn't say it's fucking orange-flavoured apricot. We're going to have to fucking dig into this. Hang on one second. Are Jaffa cakes made of orange? The answer is both yes and no. Thanks, Google! Okay, according to the manufacturer, Jaffa oranges were once used to make the jam, implying that they no longer are. This is fucking false advertising. I'm genuinely, this is like when you told me about the squirrels. I'm genuinely heartbroken. Like, fuck me, what else is a lie?
I'm genuinely miffed about that, yeah.
I'm not miffed, I'm fucking furious, sir.
Flawed.
Jesus Christ, I'm bothered.
Yep. And that's also why fake Jaffa cakes taste weird, because they don't know that it's not just orange.
Alright, it's going down to solid meh because of its lies.
Well, I'm keeping it in Bloody Lovely. It's kept out of Food of the Gods by the fact that, you buy a packet of it and then the packet's gone.
Even when it's the 20-pack?
Yeah. Especially when it's the 20-pack.
Oh, that's worrying, Rick.
The Jaffa Yard. Akira Toriyama, he's not the grandfather of anime. He's like the weird uncle of anime that everybody knows.
I don't know if I'd call him the weird uncle, but it's one of those where, sorry, yeah, I kind of spoke over you. He passed away at the age of 68, which is old, but not that old. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any understating how influential he has been.
No. I don't think there is a single contemporary manga or anime artist who is as influential as Toriyama.
It's one of those where, like, I don't know if, technically speaking, Toriyama was the inventor of the shonen genre, but he sure as fuck put it on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the part of it is that he's always been doing it with comedy, so that's always been something that I've always appreciated.
Have you seen the little cartoon drawing he does that's meant to represent him? He's never taking it too seriously, which I love.
Yeah, the Torybot.
yeah, the little weird creature with the fucking gas mask.
Yep. According to him, the Torybot is the most powerful creature in the Dragon Ball universe.
I think it says a lot that we can smile and laugh despite the fact someone's passed away. I think it says a lot about their work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dragon Ball Z was the popular thing. Let's cut to the chase there. It was the popular thing even in the West.
Yes.
But Dragon Ball was a lot goofier.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's something that people didn't like about Super, is that they were returning to some of the goof, and people didn't realize, no, this is actually how it went. These are the roots that you're trying to erase.
I can't remember if it was chapter 1 or chapter 2, because I read some of Dragon Ball. I read up to about just after they met I've forgotten his name, the pig dude.
Oolong,
that's it. I had Pilaf in my brain, but I knew that I think that's the cat that Yamcha has.
No, that's Puar. Pilaf is the main villain who's like a goblin.
Well, there we go. I'm just fucking shit with names. But, I managed to read that far, and I can't remember if it was chapter 1 or chapter 2 when Bulma first meets Goku, and Goku has a little look under her panties, and Bulma freaks out, naturally, and you just cut to Goku going, so girls have a bottom on the front.
Yeah, and also he doesn't know where the tail is. He's looking for a tail because he can't see it from the outside.
Doesn't he also, slap her on the pussy as well?
Yeah, he does, because asses are meant for slapping.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Product of its time. Toriyama will be missed. I think all you need to do is go on the internet today, and if you're listening to this, well, when the podcast is out, just go on the internet and look at all of the manga artists and anime guys who are just writing paragraphs of how this man influenced their work.
Yeah. End of an era for us, really.
I've been replaying Lord of the Rings The Third Age for the millionth time.
You have.
I love that game.
Yeah.
I even said to you last night that with them remaking the Star Wars Battlefront in quotation marks classic, I would really, 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 really love a remaster of this game. It'll never happen, but I want it.
Yeah. Does it end in a way that there could be more?
I mean, kind of. It's one of those where if they were to go back and actually give it a remake treatment as opposed to a remaster, I'd honestly cut everything after. I wouldn't bother with the Pelennor Fields stage. I'd change that into something a bit more than we actually got. Because you do Pelennor Fields, you fight a bunch of Mumakil, which is not fun. You do the Witch King fight with Eowyn, because of course you do. That's the most iconic part of that battle, at least in the cinematic movie. And then
totally.
At the very end, you fight the Eye of Sauron.
You fight the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, which is why I say I'd cut Pelennor Fields, and I'd make the party be like basically do clean-up duty of Gondor when Aragorn leads the troops towards making a final last stand to distract for Frodo. They're still dealing with stuff, and then branch it out and be like, okay, and then Berefor and co do their own story.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Like, the timeline's already convoluted as far as Third Age goes, because you point out already that it's dumb that the party literally fight the Balrog with Gandalf.
Yeah. Until then, it's technically something that maybe could have happened. And then they just, like, go out onto the bridge and are like, my friends, I was going to make this cool heroic sacrifice and solo this fucking Balrog.
The thing is, though, is he doesn't even have a chat with you. The fight just happens.
Yeah. So you've got Gandalf, who's a Seymour, and he's got, he's 5 times more powerful than any of your party members.
That's the case for every guest character, though.
Yeah.
They make it very clear that no matter how powerful even Faramir is better than the party, which, fair enough, Faramir's a cool dude, but...
Yeah. Faramir's kind of on the tier of maybe you could have included that as a playable character.
The reason why I say the timeline gets all fucked up is the moment you enter Rohan is when they just start going, fuck it. Because you do this thing where you encounter Grima Wormtongue in Snowborn, which makes no fucking sense, because Theoden and co have already fucked off to Helm's Deep by then.
Yeah.
So you fight him, and then you fight Sharku, which is the lead Rog rider during the ambush.
Alrighty.
And there's no way you can fight him, because either it's before the ambush, which means there'd be a shit zillion people, or it's after the ambush, where he's already died.
Yeah.
And then you get to Helm's Deep, you do Helm's Deep, you fight with all the legendary, the 3 main heroes, which is cool, don't get me wrong. But then the next level, you jump straight towards Gileath, where Faramir is defending the city, and obviously the timeline, really, that's not possible. But who cares? It's fun. It makes for fun set pieces. And, yes, it is a Final Fantasy X rip-off as far as the battle system is concerned. But what a game to fucking rip off.
Yeah, the PS2 RPG.
I'd care more if that wasn't a plot they've used like 3 times already in Heroes.
Yeah, like the actual candidate dies, and so the one who was never meant to be the candidate actually ends up going on the throne. It's the Henry VIII problem, really, ain't it? Like, the one who's always been a goof off and has no interest in ruling ends up being the one that has to do it.
Was that the case of Henry VIII? Well, maybe it was. In that, his older brother, he married his older brother's wife, didn't he? To begin with.
Yeah.
But it's
his older brother was meant to be king, but he died, yeah.
It's one of those weird ones where Henry VIII was an oaf, but weirdly he's not the worst king we've had.
Well, based on the fact that, we've seen worse, but then again, he probably had a hand in making sure history would remember him at least well. And he also had...
Here's a spoiler for you, Rick. We have a unique perspective here because we're British. We have to learn about him. No one else does.
No. And, he's one of the first things that you think of when you think of a figure from the past.
Well, maybe for you.
Because it's a lot easier to think of Henry VIII than it is to, think about Hitler and not have to think about all the things that he did.
I think you're coming at that from the wrong angle, and I appreciate this may not be the right podcast to talk about this, but again, there's a lot of indoctrination. We learn about Henry VIII pretty much first lost in history, and then he keeps coming up. It's got nothing to do with it's easier to remember because he's more recognisable. It's drilled into our heads from a young age. There's a reason why there's a lot of royalists in this country. It's because we're taught from a young age, the king and queen are very important. Here's this important person from 2022.
Yeah, and you get top marks for getting things right. That's kind of the problem with things that you get taught in school. But oh well. And yeah, I always used to hate history for how they used to repeat the same lessons a couple of years later, because like it felt like they never added anything. But that's just me.
It's that age-old thing, Rick, which we will always come back to, where it's weird that once you reach a certain age and you want to learn about things, it's easy to learn those things because it's something you're interested in, as opposed to in school where it's like, you gotta learn this. Some things you gotta learn, yes. Learn how to speak, learn how to write, learn how to do the maths. You don't have to learn about King Henry and his 6 lives. But the kid called them Thunderbirds.
Okay, so yeah, the Thunderbirds that are little mini versions of Gauss.
Okay, I can kind of understand why you don't want to use the term Thunderbirds, because that means something else to us in Britain.
Yes.
Rick, how would the Thunderbirds do against a fucking kaiju attack the level of, I don't know, let's not put the G-Man in there, let's just say fucking Rodan. Do you think the Thunderbirds could take down Rodan?
Probably not. I think the only thing the Thunderbirds could do is they have the mole, and the mole digs a trap, and hopefully the thing falls into the trap.
Oh, guess what? That won't work against Rodan, because that motherfucker flies everywhere.
Yep. I think the mole is actually the only offensive Thunderbird that they can reliably use.
Oh, fuck me, it wouldn't even work on, like, Angerus, because his big gimmick is he digs good.
Yeah, the Thunderbirds are fucked.
I watched Godzilla vs. Megalon 2023.
Okay. Was it any fun?
It is. The Godzilla YouTube channel releases, I feel like once a year, a very stellar animation.
Alrighty.
Last year it was Godzilla vs. Gigan Rex. This year it was Godzilla vs. Megalon. And it's a continuation, and it makes perfect sense, because in Megalon's movie he teams up with Gigan.
Okay.
They made Megalon look fucking awesome. The fight was cool. They had some live action segments of people reacting to Godzilla in the background. Half of them like, oh, it's just Godzilla, who cares? And everyone else going, oh, fuck, it's Godzilla, we need to run. Rick, I don't know if you've ever seen the infamous gif of Godzilla doing a dropkick.
I have.
Okay, so that is from Godzilla vs. Megalon, and they do it again in this animation because they know what people want to see.
Fun.
It's stupid. It's so dumb looking, and yet it lives in infamy, and almost every Godzilla fan, even if you don't really like goofy Godzilla, I like Godzilla when he's a bit goofy. It's a fun time. But that in particular, it's like, it's one of those things that has expanded from the Godzilla fandom, in that even if people who don't know what the fuck Godzilla is, they've probably seen that gif.
Yep.
Megalon looks like a threat. There's some real fun shit. The reason why I like Godzilla is because it's basically wrestling.
Yeah.
Except instead of 2 dudes in spandex, it's 2 giant monsters.
Totally.
But let's talk about Sting's tag team partner. So Darby Allin had a really nasty spot during the match. He went through some glass. It didn't look very good. I wasn't a fan. That's a different discourse for another podcast to disseminate.
Sure.
But apparently he's going to be taking some time off work because he's been threatening this for a while now, but apparently this year's the year where he's going to try and climb Everest.
Okay, well, best of fortune.
Good luck to him. Apparently he's been training. But, it's something which I don't think people realise, that despite the fact that, don't get me wrong, this fella is fit as fuck because he's a wrestler. He trains most days of his life. But I think people tend to forget, because people are lambasting him in wrestling communities saying, oh, he's risking his life for no reason, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. The guy is fit. The guy has money. Mm-hmm. The guy can afford to do Everest and survive it. People like to point out statistics like 12 people last year died on Everest. Fucking hundreds of people tried to climb it, though.
Yes. Can't discount the effect of a good Sherpa.
Like, for real. Again, Darby Allin can afford it. Darby Allin is a fit gentleman. I think people are worried for no reason. Don't get me wrong. Doesn't matter how fit you are. Doesn't matter how much you pay on supplies and actually get yourself to the top. There's no guarantee you'll do it, and there's always a risk. But people shouldn't be roasting him online for wanting for finally trying to achieve a dream.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, yeah, it's a rich person's dream, but it's very much a dream that anybody can just go and have. You're not stopped from trying to, from wanting to climb Everest, because Everest is there. And it's like the, maybe not the white whale, but it's the challenge for people who like climbing.
Yeah, if you are a mountain climber, it's the one. It is the tallest. Why do you want to climb it? Because it's there. It's an iconic quote for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? It's a weird sort of paradox in that Everest is the tallest mountain in the world. That's why people want to climb it. It is not the hardest mountain in the world to climb.
No.
I'm not a mountain climber. I'm never going to climb a mountain. It's not a thing I'm interested in to do personally. But I do love watching other people climb mountains and listening to proper fucking mountaineers. They're like, yeah, no, Everest is... don't get me wrong. Just by the fact that it's over 8,000 feet means, you know, once you reach that point, you're in something called the death zone.
Yes.
It is a place where humans literally cannot live.
Without additional oxygen, yeah.
Yeah, it's why Brian Blessed is crazy when he says he wants people should climb Everest without oxygen, and it's like, maybe no.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got the combination of oldest and highest without oxygen, but like...
I don't think that's actually correct, because he said that the last time we brought up Everest, and we said a lot of things that were not actually correct once I looked into it.
Okay, yeah, just take anything I say about anything with a pinch of salt.
Oh yeah, here's the thing, Rick, here's the secret trick, which I learnt from a fucking Castle Super Beast clip a long time ago. If you say, to my knowledge, before you say something, you cannot be done. Because what you're saying is correct. To my knowledge, this is the situation. You could be completely wrong, but what you say is correct.
Yep.
Bad Dragon is suing Sin Saint Inc.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to explain to the audience who Bad Dragon are, or shall I?
They make very specifically shaped personal interest toys, sometimes based around something that exists, sometimes based around something like, I don't know, a dragon. And
Rick's floundering a little bit and trying to word it politely. They make fantasy-themed sex toys. That's what they are.
Yes.
So they've filed in Arizona. I assume that's because one or both companies are based there. I don't know. I'm not following that much in depth. I've looked at the evidence, as it were, that they've provided, so you guys don't have to, but you can look it up if you Google it. For about 5 claims, I'd say they've got something where it's just a carbon copy. For others, it's just nonsense, like Sin Saint Inc. had a tentacled toy, and it's like, it doesn't look like the one that Bad Dragon has. I think what's happening is Bad Dragon has got a legitimate claim for some of them, and they're just trying to destroy the competition by going after all of them.
Yeah, because they have to defend every claim in some way, and that's going to cost them something, which means that they're basically being defunded on the claims that they actually have to defend.
Beside the point of them potentially being defunded, because Sin Saint Inc. isn't a small company, they can afford a suit.
Yeah.
Or at least the legal defence of a suit. If they lose the suit, that's another question entirely, but that's whatever. This is actually old news, by the way. It's just come up again because they've made additional claims, so that's why it came on my radar, in case people were wondering.
Sure.
Once they've got precedence for one thing being copied, the judge of the suit is going to have that as precedence to go after the other ones, even if they're not as similar, you know? It just gets worse and worse. If they prove 5, it's just like, well, this is completely different, but it's in the same vein and they've already nicked one design, so yeah, we'll tack it on.
Yeah, totally.
It's just sort of a steamroller. I don't know how to feel about this. Obviously, I've got no investment in fantasy-shaped sex toys. I'm not that much of a freak, I can promise you. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You do you. But a bit scummy.
It's a bit, yeah.
Again, I'm not an expert in the field, but as far as I'm aware, the only brand name I know of is Bad Dragon. It very much feels like yanking the ladder up behind them.
Yeah, even if some things were, like, not even super copied, but, like, there's not many shapes that Orswang can be. You take inspiration from the thing and you produce something similar, even if it's, like, if your source material is the same, it's going to end up looking pretty much the same.
Yeah, like, the expression I like to use is the serial numbers filed off.
Yeah.
I think as well, one of the things that they're going after specifically is the design of the flared base of the toys, because apparently Bad Dragon has a unique design. I don't know about that. I can't see much from the pictures. The Bad Dragon flares look like any other dildo flare I've ever seen. And trust me, I've seen a few in videos.
Yes.
Having no physical evidence in front of me, maybe they're telling the truth on that front. I would really like to be a fly in the wall during this case. I would love to fucking see a lawyer just plant a mountain of dildos in front of a judge and say, as you can see, Your Honour.
Yeah. Just have them suctioned onto their defence desk.
Like, for real. It's just like, as you can see, the flared base is just, okay, I'm so uncomfortable right now. Oh, no, we haven't even gotten to the tip.
Yeah, which is also flared in some cases.
Ha ha! Ubisoft's up Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh, they've tried to extract every single piece of money out of everybody, which is the way that Ubisoft always does things, and yet people are somehow surprised now that they're doing it with Star Wars, because people have seen the massive success that other companies have had by releasing the whole game for the price of a game, whereas Ubisoft wants 1 2/3 the price of a game for the day one experience.
Yeah, so they've got 3 different price points. You got £70 for just the game. You've got, I believe, £90 for the game, and you get, I don't even know what you get. You get the
3 days pre-order bonus.
You get that, and you also get, I actually don't think you get the free, well, yeah, for that level you must do. But for 130 quid, which is nearly double, you get that, the 3-day early bonus, and you get the Jabba the Hutt mission that's been flaunted and advertised all the way up until now, and everyone thought was going to be in the base game.
Yeah, something that definitely is already made, and they've literally taken it away.
There's a reason why people don't like Ubisoft, because they've done this shit forever, as you point out. I've already been bitten once this year because of my hype for Skull and Bones was running over, and, you know, I've played about 3 hours of that game before going, this is shit.
Yeah.
I'm entirely confident that Star Wars Outlaws will be a fun game, but because Ubisoft is being Ubisoft, I'm going to wait 2 years for this to be 15 quid.
And on Steam.
Well, maybe on Steam, but I don't mind playing on PlayStation.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, on PlayStation it's a lot more palatable because you don't have to have a separate fucking launcher for every single thing. Now, I've had to go and get the freaking EA launcher just because I finally felt like playing the first of the 2 Star Wars Souls games.
Okay, yeah.
Because I bought it however long ago and never ended up playing it. Partly because I had to go through the freaking launcher. And then my hard drive died after I finally downloaded it, so that's like 2 days worth of downloading wasted.
We've got bad internet down here, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It sucks. It's a real blow. I think the reason why this one's hitting people a bit harder is because you've got... Right, Rick, you and I think we describe ourselves as gamers in the sense that video games is one of our larger hobbies.
Yeah, like, we're not professional gamers, but we do game.
Yeah. I also don't like using the word gamer because it has some real negative connotations lately, but hey-ho diddly do.
The connotations have been given to the phrase by others.
Point being that I think this is hitting people harder because it's a Star Wars game, and Star Wars is more popular than video games in general, which means you've got casual people who don't actually play games that much. They might buy a game a month, if that, and even then, that is...
or 1 a year, even.
Well, yeah, but that type of crowd seems to stick to FIFA or COD.
Sure.
You know what I mean, though? It's like, a game a month is not unreasonable for someone who's not into... I buy several games a month. Granted, most of them are, a $5 or something on Steam, but I buy a lot of games.
Yeah.
And because this is Star Wars, people who don't normally play games will be like, oh, I'll buy the game. What do you mean it's 70 quid and I don't get all the things?
Yep.
Welcome to our world. We've been fighting this battle since, I want to say, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era.
Yeah. Before that, when they wanted to release DLC, they'd re-release the game with the DLC, pretty much. Like, that was the Capcom special of, you never buy the game the first time because it's going to come out again.
Yeah, but that only bothered fighting game enthusiasts, at least.
Yeah.
We're a bit biased with stop motion because you and I, we're British and we were born in the 90s. It's relevant, trust me, I'm not being a fucking weirdo about it, but we were more or less brought up on Wallace and Gromit's 3 specials.
Yes, absolutely. And if you go back far enough, when the 2 specials became 3, I was around for that.
Damn! Living history right here, guys.
Yeah. I remember, I was upstairs at my grandma's house on the tiny telly on the bed because I really wanted to watch the new Wallace and Gromit that was coming out, and man, that was a fun day. That was a fun time.
Which was the 3rd one? That was the Baker, wasn't it?
No, the Baker was like the 4th. I think that was after the movie. The 3rd one was the one with Preston, the Cyberdog.
I don't remember that.
It's where they're rustling sheep to turn them into dog food.
Oh, okay, cool. So the baker was the fourth one. The second one was Psychopath Chicken, the wrong trousers.
Yeah, and the first one was just going to the moon because it's made of cheese.
Cheese, Gromit!
A moon's made of cheese. Everyone knows that.
Watching the first Wallace and Gromit is the hardest because it's the most apparent ghetto-ass shit they've ever done.
Yes. And it goes a long time in between a lot of lines because it's just showing Wallace just move around and just do his thing. And it's not until the wrong trousers that he carries the narrative a lot more, even just on his own, you know. Four Kings.
I fucking hate multi-enemy boss fights in Souls games. I fucking hate the Four Kings boss fight. It is such a pain in the arse. 10 out of 10, S tier. I really don't like the fight, but fuck, I love everything going into it.
Yeah. So I'm putting the Four Kings in B just because the run back is such a pain in the arse. You got to go right the way down from Firelink, all the way through the fucking you got two choices. Eat both of them from Firelink. You can go through the Valley of the Drakes and through the front door that you've opened, or you go through the entire zone again. And either way, it's not fun. If you die, you do it again. If you die more than once, you get frustrated and have to do it again. This is one where I had to change up my build from like a mid-roll, reasonably okay person to just, okay, no, I'm doing Havels and unga-bungering this down because I cannot withstand this amount of damage.
Also, this boss fight's bugged.
Oh yes, if you leave it long enough, there's 5 of them, and there is actually a 6th king that lives underground, and he's the one with the health bar.
Oh, that makes sense. There has to be some sort of trickery to make that work properly.
Yeah, there's a master king who is he's placed below the map, and all of them reflect damage onto the master king, and I think that he takes a chunk every time you kill one as well.
Yeah, but again, interesting concept, lore-wise, it's fascinating. If you do this fight before putting the Lord Vessel in place, you get the lore background for the dark ending.
Yeah. And it also gives you it gives you the Covenant.
There's a Covenant?
Yeah, if you do 4 Kings before, you get, if you do 4 Kings early enough, you can get the Dark Lurker Covenant, can't you? No,
Dark Lurker's Dark Souls 2.
Not Dark Lurker.
You make a covenant
with Karth.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a real covenant. I think it's just saying stuff.
No, it is. It is a real covenant. You get like.
Oh, do you mean the Dark Wraiths?
Yeah, Dark Wraiths. Here we are.
I didn't realise that was associated with Karth. I thought it was just dickheads.
No. Yeah, you can join the Dark Wraiths if you talk to Karth that way, and he only gives you one chance to join. If you say no at that point, he just doesn't talk to you.
Fair enough then.
But yeah, you can join him. He's another feed him humanity to get the things guy. You get the Dark Sword, and you get the Dark Hand.
Yeah, the Dark Hand, infamous because it must have been in this game. I believe it used to steal levels.
It steals humanity.
Ah, okay. That's still pretty fucking awful.
It is. And there's a wiki page of how much humanity each NPC has that you can steal from them, and you just have it as soft humanity. And I think you can do it once per bonfire reload before they aggro on you.
Oh, okay.
And I think Petrus is the one with the least humanity.
I'm not all that bothered. I've never done an evil playthrough. Well, I say evil playthrough, there's no real morality system in Souls, but I tend to not kill NPCs that don't deserve killing.
Yeah, like Petrus is a good one to kill because it lets the other lady progress her quest line, for instance.
Not so much that as you can complete her quest line, but once she's in the chapel, if you don't kill Petrus, she will go missing.
Yeah. She will go missing somehow.
Yeah, and also fuck Lautrec. I've done Lautrec's quest once just to have done it, but fuck, is that a pain in the arse all round?
Yeah, just disabling your main bonfire is a big deal.
I'm not even bothered about that. I'm just saying the fight you have to do to get the fucking tongue back is a pain.
Yeah, true.
Okay, fuck it, let's talk about it. Hades 2 came out.
Yeah, it did. So it's in early access right now, is it, yeah?
Yeah, they're doing the same thing they did with Hades 1, although I didn't jump on Hades 1 until it was done.
Sure.
There's a lot here, considering it's still early access. There's a lot of articles going around, specifically from Kotaku, saying, don't buy this game, it's in early access, and it's like, wow, Kotaku's saying not to buy a game in early access. Am I in the Twilight Zone? You fucks. I don't know why they've got an axe to grind against Supergiant Games, but apparently they have. have.
Yeah, it is a bit weird.
But yeah, let's get to it. Hey man, this game feels like I'm playing Hades 2.
Yeah.
I think that's the best compliment I can give it.
Yeah, absolutely. By all accounts, people that have played it have been enjoying it.
It's good. It's very fun. The characters are charming, although I didn't expect otherwise. I managed to beat the first boss on my second run, so I felt pretty happy.
Yeah.
And I've managed to meet the second boss. I beat the second boss on my first try. I don't know how, because every time I've come up to it since, it's kicked my ass.
Yeah, fair enough.
I've seen the third area, and that's all I'm saying, and that's as far as I've gotten. I got my ass kicked in Area 3 very hard. I'm not looking forward to getting back there.
Sure. Yeah, sometimes that's... sometimes you do just get into the groove, though, yeah?
Certainly. Our new main character, Mel, she controls very differently to Zagreus, while also feeling the same. Like, the core mechanics are there.
I get you.
Okay, they introduce a new thing for Mel. Mel is very much a caster.
Sure,
She
okay.
has a mana bar.
Right, okay.
What that means is you've got your normal attack, which is it's square on the PlayStation, but it's X on Xbox. So that's just your swings. You've got triangle, which is Zagreus's cast that used to be on circle.
Yeah.
On the default weapon, that's a cast. You send out a little projectile. And B is your actual cast. That doesn't change no matter what weapon you're wielding. And her cast is an AoE.
Right, okay, I get you.
And now here's the kicker: is you can hold down each button to make an Omega attack.
Yeah, charged attacks and stuff, yeah.
That uses your mana, and
Right.
it's her casting some form of spell.
Sure.
And that changes per weapon. So far, my favourite weapon is the dagger and claw. It's a very fast weapon. I tried using the axe, and I liked it, but I got my ass kicked by the first boss, so I really do need to get accustomed to it. Yeah, I'm just saying, it's a good time. I highly recommend it. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah. So I'm sure I'll get to it like when I do, because I'm still not finished with Hades 1 yet.
One thing I will say is fuck Eris. Eris is a character that got introduced. She's the I forget what her official role is, but she represents Strife, and
Sure.
what she is she's a built-in mechanic to stop you from going too far.
Right, okay.
So if you're really good at Hades 1, you can theoretically beat the game on your first run. It's difficult, but it can be done. And I'm sure people can still do that with Hades 2. However, the first time you beat the first boss, you bump into Eris, and she gives you the gift of Strife. It means everything that hits you does 20% more damage. But that doesn't sound too bad. However, it also has the little line after it that says, by the way, this increases by 5% each encounter. So in 10 encounters time, you're up to 70%. If you do another 20, you're well over taking double damage. So yeah, it's definitely like, I think the devs looked at Hades 1 and went, we need to make it difficult for people to just sequence break encounters.
Make it too difficult for people to just boss it.
Pretty much, man. Like, every time I've had an Eris encounter, I've not beaten that zone because the enemy's just too much. I'm too reckless, basically, is what I'm saying.
Sure. I get you.
You can get away with it on base damage, but not so much on when they increase it a little bit. I've met the 2 friendly NPCs that you can randomly encounter in chambers for the first 2 zones. I won't spoil them; they're fun. And yeah, you met Thanatos in Hades 1, didn't you?
I think so.
He's the guy who helps you in encounters sometimes. He actually just spawns and kills things, and you have a contest with him.
No, actually, I've met Sisyphus though.
Okay, no, Sisyphus is what I mean by I've met the 2 friendly characters that take up chambers. But yeah, they've expanded on that a little bit. I've met 2 people who can randomly join your encounters and help you clear the chambers, so that's an interesting change. It's a good game. I highly recommend it. I've pretty much realised that the last 5 minutes, all I've been saying is Hades 2 good, buy it. But
2 weeks later.
Rick, I got my first Hades 2 clear.
Did you? Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That final boss is a real pain in the dick.
What weapon did you use?
The first basic one.
Okay.
That being said, I did max out Meninoi's aspect on it, so it's got like 30% increase in...
Everything.
Not everything, no. Increase in Omega attack speed.
Oh, okay.
All the aspects have like one gimmick that they increase, and yeah, if you increase the rank of it, it does that thing better. Like, I remember Zagreus' sword, I believe, was just a straight up increase to attack by 30% once you maxed it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that final boss is hard. I heavily suspect that his HP is going to be lowered, or rather his max HP is going to be lowered in the final release, because I think they don't want people to beat the game very easily on early access.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I've cleared both routes now, and yeah, I really didn't. I beat that final boss in a run that took me 45 minutes, damn near.
Yeah.
And it feels like about 8 of those minutes was just the final boss. So, you know, I don't know, man. Like I said, it might get easier. I might just be shit. That's absolutely fine, and I might get better. It's just the only way. And I don't really fully count the run as me being good at the game now. I had 4 Death Defiances when I fought the boss, and I was down to 10 HP when I won.
Yeah, I also get that feeling sometimes when I'm not. I know that I'm not the reason that I won something. Like, I know it's the build that carried me.
Yeah, but it wasn't even the build. It was literally just I had the HP to burn.
Yeah, fair enough.
But you know, it is what it is. I feel like every zone up until Tartarus and the final boss is quite easily doable by me. It's just when I get to that final zone, it's a fucking brick in the face. Game I've not touched because 1, Harry Potter's fucking boring to me, and 2, I don't like J.K. Rowling, making boycotting Harry Potter very easy because I don't care about it.
Yeah, totally.
I'll say it every time we bring up Harry Potter. I'm sorry if you were a fan of Harry Potter and you happen to be transgender, because that must suck.
Yeah, I think I'll go with I don't know the actual statement, but the Daniel Radcliffe stance of, if it meant a lot to you when you were growing up, then treasure those memories, and if you feel differently now, then there are people who agree with you.
Again, I'm literally just expressing sympathy for someone who adores a thing and then finds out the person who made that thing hates the fact you exist.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I don't know how I would cope with that, you know?
Because magical worlds are a dead easy allegory for anything like that. Like, growing up anything other than, like, straight cisgender, a magical world is a perfect allegory for, there are people growing up differently to the way that you're expected to. Maybe I can take some solace in that. It's so mystifying that she's picked one group of people just to hate.
Wow, it's fucking funny, isn't it, how we transition from corporate evil to just, look at this bitch.
Yeah. We were talking about Warner Brothers, no? She wasn't even part of the notes.
Yeah, sorry, I went off on a tangent. We don't like J.K. Rowling. It's fine. We're allowed our opinion. And we are cis men, which means she can't have a go at us for not liking her for whatever fucking weird nonsense reason she usually comes up with.
Yeah.
And anyway, I bought Rogue Trader.
Okay, is it any good?
It is so fun.
Good shit.
I think it might be a bit too throwing of proper nouns at you if you don't know absolutely anything about Warhammer at all, but if you have even a base knowledge, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. I saw it being compared to Baldur's Gate 3 early on, and obviously nothing's going to compare favorably to Baldur's Gate, but the person doing it said, I love how awful all of the party members are and how comfortable they are with being awful.
Very quickly early on, Rick, I was losing my shit because some of the options you've got are just the most evil shit ever, and I'm glad that they're in the game because it fits with Warhammer 40k so well. You can talk to one of your people and just be like, yeah, who would love a mutant like you? And that's just an option you can pick. And it's just, I didn't pick it because I'm not a dick, but, you know, if you want to roleplay a proper fucking pro-Imperium character, you can do that. In fact, there are at least 3 party members I've already unlocked who will super be into that.
Yeah, who would have said that themselves if they were the main character, yeah.
Yeah, so I've beaten the prologue and I've beaten chapter 1. I honestly, actually, so far I'm having more fun with this than I did with Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is prettier, but this feels like more of an interactive experience. It feels like you have more options that matter.
Sure.
I obviously haven't finished Rogue Trader. It could fucking shit the bed. And by no means am I slagging off Baldur's Gate 3. I love that game.
Yeah. So what, your starting kit is a lot more expanded and interactive, I guess, right?
No, not even that. It's like, okay, when you first get control after the prologue, you're thrown into a star system. There are 3 places to go realistically, because that's which have quests. I went to one place first. I then went to another place, and you've got blue dialogue in the dialogue that's thrown at you in the narration, and you hover over it, and what that is it's a consequence, and it's, you didn't go here first, so this shit happened off screen.
Okay, I like that. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like it's a bit more immersive than Baldur's Gate 3. Now, bear in mind, again, not throwing shade at Baldur's Gate. Love that game. Definitely deserved Game of the Year. But this is definitely a lot more niche. It doesn't look anywhere near as pretty, and it looks like Baldur's Gate 1, like it top down, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, in Baldur's Gate, you can experience almost everything on one playthrough.
Sure.
Apart from, like, obvious little interactions, there are basically two ways to do it, like all good or all evil, and even then, a lot of the content's the same. So yeah, you're saying even from the first choice, things are going to change your world state.
Yeah, because I didn't know that before choosing my first thing. Like, even landing on my first place, it said, you came here first, that's why things aren't shit.
Sweet.
The second place I went to was a prison world, and there's another character visiting that world, and because I went there second, that character got captured and maimed.
Oh boy.
So I assume if you go there first, you probably bump into him before you go into the prison proper, and you can prevent that. I'm assuming. I don't actually know. For all I know, this could just be very well done DM trickery of it looks like shit happens, but it doesn't. I haven't done a second playthrough. I'm not going to until I've done my first.
Sure.
You've got three... They're not morality, but it's like this is your belief system. Like, you can either go full-on Imperium, you can go Heretic, and you can go Iconoclast. So,
yeah.
Obviously, Imperium is your fucking big for big emps. Heretical is chaos, and no one should ever do that unless they want to be dedicated to evil. And Iconoclast is basically like, I'm not a heretic, but I kind of value people more than the Emperor.
Yeah, basically the way that the Emperor wanted the universe to be.
I'm playing my character as he worships the Emperor, or rather the mainline religion. He's not chaotic, but he will make decisions that prioritize saving lives over following the religious doctrine.
Sure, yeah, that's pretty good.
Which is cool, because that means both the heretical crew members and the dogma, I think that's what they call the dogmatic, that's it, dogmatic party members, both kind of don't like me, but they kind of don't hate me.
Sure, so you can still unlock dialogue with them at least.
I mean, no one's left or anything. I made a choice at the end of Chapter 1, which was saving a bunch of people, and on my team at that point was literally an Inquisitor's assistant, and the Inquisitor is like, this is your ship, and you're a rogue trader. You can do what you want. You shouldn't do this. And then later on, when that decision bit me in the arse, he just goes, I fucking warned you. Except he said it with a bit more class than that. I really hope he rejoins the party. I really like using him. But yeah, I can gush about this game all day, but I just want to finish on one point. The Chapter 1 end boss, I really appreciated. Do you know what it was?
Probably not a greater demon.
No. It's similar vein, but so much better, because I feel like people don't respect it enough. It was a single Chaos Space Marine.
Oh boy, yeah. Space Marines are not to be left at. And Chaos Space Marines are they're OG Space Marines that have stayed alive in some form or other for this long. Yeah, they're pretty badass.
Yeah, they are. This game punished me so hard for my playstyle as well. I focus on cover a lot. I keep my team in cover and slowly advance, because that's just how I play strategy games. One of the fights had a hard time limit of, there was one turn. You need to kill X amount of things in a turn, and that gives you more turns. And I didn't realise that was the mechanic for the first time, so I failed. Second time, I didn't move anywhere near fast enough. I failed again. I failed for a third time, and then I was like, nah, fuck it, I just can't stick to cover in this map.
Yep.
But, you know...
It's gotta be all balls to the wall.
Yeah, man, like, it's very rare that a game forces me to change my strategy, because, you know, I play very conservatively. I play very safe.
Yeah.
I can't recommend this game enough. I think if you don't like reading, you'll hate this game.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing it's not quite as deeply voice acted as some other recent things.
It is so voiced. It has so much voice work in it, but not everything is. And also, they don't voice the narration.
Okay.
So unless the character is if the character has a name, chances are they're voiced. But there are some scenes that aren't voiced because, you know, it's just a lore dump and narration isn't. You get this awkward moment where I can read faster than I can listen, and there's breaks in the dialogue for narration for what the character is doing, and then it starts talking again, but they don't pause the voice line for the break for the action.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trying to read what the action is while also listening to them talk the next line.
Sure.
So by no means perfect, but I'm really enjoying it. If you like this type of game, I think you'll enjoy it as well. I'm level 16 at the end of Chapter 1.
Okay.
It seems that every chapter is probably 16 levels. That's just me taking a guess.
Sure. Do you know what the level cap is, or?
16, 32, at least 48.
Okay, so maybe 50.
Maybe 50, but like at the moment, you sign yourself a base class type thing, and each rank is 16 ranks, and then you move on to a different class, or different subclass, which is usually more advanced. And so far it's been 16, 32, and I assume the last one's going to be another lot of 16, but I haven't gotten that far yet.
Sure.
So yeah, I think it's fun. Big recommend. It is another TTRPG, but video game.
And the last one on the list is the Yorkie.
This is the source of one of my favourite sketches from Little Britain, where you got that fancy guy ordering a bunch of fancy food, and the waiter goes, "Oh, very good, sir," is about to walk away, and he goes, "Oh, and a Yorkie." But yeah, this goes in bloody lovely. It's the king of chocolate. Obviously they don't do it anymore, but I remember the ad campaign when I was a kid was "Not for girls."
Yeah, and they had girls dressed as boys, and they went, explain the offside rule, and she does it perfectly. And then he goes, "Oh, nice hair, by the way," and she goes, "Thank you," and he goes, "Gotcha."
I don't remember that particular advert. I just remember the tagline was "Not for girls." They had the same thing for McCoy's, where it was "Man Crisps," and obviously you can't.
Yeah.
Obviously it was just an ad campaign, and we know a bit more about it now. They were really dumb adverts. I remember the McCoy advert I remember is it was a bunch of lads at a pub around a one of the quiz games, and the question was, what's it called when a ballet dancer does XYZ? And everyone's like, one of them goes, "Pile?" And they all look at him, and he's eating McCoys, and they just take the McCoys off him, which is a funny fucking advert, but it's super sexist.
Yeah, it wouldn't fly today.
No, God, no. But, some adverts were funny, and I understand why you can't do them anymore, and that's totally fine. And also, they weren't serious. They're not going to go, you can't... That people weren't seriously thinking, apart from children because they're dumb, "Oh, you're a girl, you're not allowed to eat a Yorkie." I also watched a movie, Rick. Can you guess which one?
Yes, it's the one that I have not watched the ones before of, so I didn't go and watch with my folks.
Godzilla Kong New Empire. I went to see this with a mutual buddy of ours who has not seen Godzilla vs. Kong, and the first thing he said to me when the film started was, "Did I miss a movie?" And I went, "Yeah, you did." I don't blame you. It came out during COVID. I had to watch it via Amazon Prime.
Fair enough.
This movie's so fucking good. I didn't think it was going to top Godzilla Kong, and yet it did in almost every way. I liked Kong's story. I liked Godzilla's story. I liked the human story.
Good shit. Yeah, liking the human story is normally the difficult one.
Well, specifically in the legendary monsterverse they've had going on, the human story has been rather weak until Godzilla Kong. I think in importing the Kong humans into the Godzillaverse was the best thing they did because they are miles more interesting.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
But yeah, I'll just list off a quick couple of highlights from the movie. They won't spoil any plot. This movie is a King Kong movie guest starring Godzilla. Godzilla is treated like Broly.
Okay.
For the entire movie, they track Godzilla. Godzilla kills a Cthulhu-looking crab monster very early on, and then sleeps for most of the film, until he fucks off and murks Tiamat in about 2 seconds. He then absorbs a bunch of energy, and that's why he's purple now. And by the way, he's a god king from space and will destroy everyone.
Yes, I saw his mohawk on the poster.
Mohawk?
Yeah, he's got the fins are what turned the purplest, so it looks like he's got a punk mohawk.
Oh, okay. I never really associate with a mohawk, but fair enough. The two moments I'm just going to highlight were during two of the fights specifically. There's a moment where King Kong finds a bunch of other giant gorillas, and he stops one gorilla from beating up another one, which pisses off the other gorilla. The gorilla gets in his face and is making all the noises and fucking puffing out his chest and like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you," but in gorilla talk. And it's the most badass thing you can ever have a character do. And that is, it just zooms in on King Kong, who's just like, "Really? We're doing this?" And then he just fucking knocks him out in one punch. It's so satisfying.
There's nothing more satisfying for defeating a grandstander than a single punch.
Scar King is a fucking anime villain.
Okay.
When Scar King first fights King Kong, it is a very dexterity versus strength matchup.
Okay.
Scar King has a whip.
Sure.
He uses it like a whip, and it's got a dagger on the end that controls the evil Shifu type monster. I've forgotten the fucking thing's name. It's not important. He holds his whip and does a stance like, you get that anime fuckhead villain who's got a dagger?
Yeah, where they lick the dagger.
Yeah, he stands like that, where he's like all fucking cocky, and it's so cool. Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, And the last thing I want to mention is Godzilla does a fucking suplex, so I'm happy and can die in peace. I just want to repeat for anyone in the back who's not listening, Godzilla suplexes King Kong, and it's played completely seriously. But yeah, once Godzilla... that's... Okay, this is actually the last thing. Scar King's gimmick is because he's got a whip made of bone, King Kong will grab the whip as he's being whipped, but then he just yanks it and it cuts his paw open, and it fucks King Kong up real bad. That's why he gets the fucking robot punching hand. But he does it later on against Godzilla, because Godzilla catches it in his teeth, so Scar King just yanks his chain, and I just almost came in my seat, because it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bit of a difference between trying to shred flesh versus shredding teeth. Whoever
choreographed the kaiju fight scenes in this movie deserves a fucking medal, because it was epic, and I don't use that word lightly.
Yeah. In fact, yeah, I think I've heard you say it, Matt, but I can count the number of times you said it to me on one hand and have fingers to spare.
So, Madam Web came out.
Oh yeah, apparently the lady who stars in it hates it.
Yeah, she does, and I'll tell you why. She thought she was in the MCU.
And
she's not a unique circumstance here, because Matt Smith appeared in Morbius, and he too signed up to Morbius because he thought he was appearing in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially what we have here is Sony and not just Sony, but also I guess these people's agents are constantly tricking actors into thinking they're signing up for the MCU, when in reality they're signing up for whatever shit show Sony's trying to do.
Yeah, the Sony won't call it the Spider-Verse. They want you to call it something stupid like the
Sonyverse.
Yeah, the Sony Pictures universe of Spider-Man related characters.
But not Spider-Man.
But they want the Sony bit to be the beginning of the statement that you use to refer to the Spider-Verse.
As an aside, Rick, the odd thing is, I was browsing through, because I just finished watching The Bad Batch literally yesterday. I clicked over to Marvel, and it was like, it split it all up into sagas, so it split up into the multiverse saga, and I went, let's flick through these films. Oh, Disney isn't allowed to have any of the Spider-Man films on its platform.
Yeah, I noticed that they were on Netflix.
Yeah, it's very odd. What's odder still is they go, we don't have the Spider-Man movies, but here's the Spider-Man cartoons, but not the good Spider-Verse movies, because we don't own those.
Yep. I finally watched Hell of a Boss.
Yes, season 2, is it episode 8, I believe?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one with all the callbacks.
I wouldn't say it's got all the callbacks, but it had... Here's the thing, going in, I wasn't expecting Dork and the Angels to show up.
Oh, no. Yeah, I was not expecting the humans, I wasn't expecting the Angels. Hell, I wasn't even expecting Fizzaroli to pop up again, but, he do he.
Yeah, true enough. This episode was a bit of whiplash for me, because you had all the crazy bullshit going on with Dork and the Angels, sandwiched between the Blitz and Stolas drama.
Yeah, I'd hazard to say it's possibly the perfect distillation of what the series is.
You're allowed to say that. I actually didn't really like the fact that they had both these things going on in the same episode.
Sure. I just think it's got a little bit of everything and enough of everything to be very good. A very good banner of both sides of it, the too real side and the actiony side and the comedy side.
I mean, it was funny. I'm not going to deny it. And again, it did show a bunch of different emotions and a bunch of different scenes. I just think juxtapositioning the I said that word wrong, but you know what I mean. The fight scene between Luna, Millie, and Moxie and the Angels, having that in the middle of this otherwise pretty tense emotional stuff with Stolas. It looks like this episode didn't know what it wanted to do. It looks like it clearly wanted the main payoff to be the ending between Stolas and Blitz, for sure. I'm not denying that. It's just the journey to get from point A of Blitz in the morning to point B had a bunch of bullshit going on in the middle, and I'm explaining my thoughts incredibly poorly, and for that I apologise. It's just it felt like too much bollocks, and I don't doubt some people might think, well, I don't think you pay attention to Haluva Boss, because Haluva Boss is always like this, and I disagree. Usually you got bollocks episodes and you got, this is not important, but more heavy side of things.
Yeah, but I think what they did here is they broke up it being just mono heavy with having fun all the way around.
I mean, fair enough, man. I'm like I said, I'm not slagging it off. I'm just saying it felt like a roller coaster, and not in a good way.
I mean, yeah, like, fair enough. Like, the ending was very definite, the end of the roller coaster, and just like a roller coaster, you know how certain things are going to go, but you're still along for the ride.
I mean, like I said, all this negativity I'm spouting, I still enjoyed the episode, don't get me wrong. I just feel like it was so weird having the Dork/Angel stuff in the same episode as the big breakup, as it were.
Yeah.
Man, and I just talk about the breakup. They did a really good job of making neither side seem like the bad guy in this situation. I mean, I agree a bit more with Stolas, but I can totally understand why Blitz acted the way he did, because we have the benefit of seeing the behind-the-scenes stuff leading up to it.
Yeah, we saw the behind-the-scenes. We can think of different ways to word things that would put a point across better, but... you know, that's just not the way it went down. And not the way it was ever going to go down because of the script.
I mean, it was never going to go... No, I disagree with the script part. Like, Blitz was never going to be okay with this when it was set up in this particular way. I agree with Blitz in the sense that this was incredibly sprung on Blitz. So much... And you also got to appreciate that Blitz's mindset was he thought he was leading into a breakup anyway, but he thought the breakup was going to be because Stolas was bored of him, not because Stolas dropped some real-life feelings. But again, it's from Blitz's point of view. Us as viewers, we know Stolas has legitimate feelings for Blitz, and perhaps Blitz even knows it deep down. But Blitz's point of view has always been, I'm nothing but a sex toy for this pervert.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he goes all in on the sexual over-the-top bullshit, even though perhaps Blitz wants something more. He never shows he wants anything more, and he's quite clearly hurt at the end, where Stolas is like, you can go now, leave me alone. Like, line of the episode, though, Stolas saying, like, I didn't think you thought so low of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know, it's quite the thing, because Stolas really went out of his comfort zone taking a risk on this, and he knew it was a risk because he essentially he had some retrospect on his relationship with Stella and realised that if he kept the relationship with Blitz the way it is, he was basically the Stella.
Yeah, it was no better. And the other side of it is he's seen Fizz and Ozzy working, and he basically wants that. And doesn't know how to go about it, and his way of easing into that is to not ease into it at all, and to just go straight for the grand gesture, and backfires.
Sort of, but the grand gesture was necessary in the sense that Blitz needed to be free of obligation, because if Stolas popped the "can this be a more romantic relationship" or tried to shift it that way while still having a very tight leash around Blitz, it was never going to end happily. I think this is a very major road bump that will eventually be gotten over, but it's going to take time, if at all. Like, for all I know, like, the creators might just be like, no, Stolas and Blitz will never be together again. I highly doubt it, it's a cartoon, but you never know. It definitely seems like reconciliation is on the table. Again, it was just a really bad time, and Luna getting in Blitz's head didn't fucking help. And by the way, can the fans shut the fuck up now about Luna not talking?
Yeah, this was a very good Luna episode. Like, she wasn't the focus, but she was I think the episode was a very good showcase of pretty much every character.
Well, to a degree, Millie and Moxie were just Millie and Moxie.
I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah, but again, like, you're saying showcase, and I feel like you use that word differently than I do. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It's one of those where, I don't know.
A showcase, not a spotlight.
Yeah, but again, like, showcase is meant to demonstrate the entire range of the character, whereas everyone just acted on their, not to put a too fine a point on it, but, like, very specific, over-the-top stereotype of that character.
Sure, fair enough.
I don't think Millie even spoke more than 2 lines in this episode.
Yeah, it was mostly just taunting the angels.
But yes, it was enjoyable. Like I said, I got pacing and whiplash issues, but whatever, that's a me thing.
Yeah.
Helluva Boss Series 2 Episode 9 came out, and it came out fucking quick.
It did. It came out like the day after, the day of me watching the episode before it.
Yeah, that was interesting timing. But yeah, I think the team behind Helluva Boss, what they called Spindlehorse, they did a very good job in bringing this out as soon as possible, because this payoff episode needed to come out after the devastating blow that was the last one.
It did.
What happened in the episode itself is exactly what I expected and needs to happen. Like, we need to see both Blitz and Stolas go through something needs to change. Their outlooks and perspectives need to change, and Stolas is certainly going to be widening his worldview by having, at the very least, a casual, non-sexual encounter with an imp, or potentially a one-night stand, potentially even more. We just don't know yet. But either way, just having a bit more relationship experience is going to help him. And as Verosika said, Blitz has just got to fucking eat it up and fucking get through it, because he fucked up. And I think it's only just now dawning on him how big he fucked up.
Yeah, because he could have had it all.
Not to put all the blame on Blitz, like he, again, I think we mentioned this the last episode of Haluva Boss we discussed, where Blitz was super not in the right mindset for that question, for that circumstances to be revealed, and it wasn't mean of Stolas. Stolas didn't know any better, and Stolas was more focusing on turning himself away from being the Stella in his new relationship, because that's how he saw himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got some fun things in this episode. The fucking very first murder victim of Imp is banging the teacher that hired them to kill her. Yep. And I'm like, damn, her demon design rocks. Shame she's an evil piece of shit.
It does.
But you know, it's little things like that you're just sort of like, I want to see the story behind this, and part of me is like, maybe I should go to AO3 and try and find that one fanfic of what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
But it's nice seeing characters that we had before just cropping up. I will say this, it took me a minute to understand why the fuck Tex was in this episode, and then it was like, oh yeah, he's her bodyguard.
Yeah, and also, you know, it's the We Hate Blitz party.
Yeah, but why does Tex hate Blitz? He doesn't. He's there because of Verosika.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, alright, go on, explain it for me, my dude. Maybe I missed something.
Well, I mean, they clashed in the Kill Stolas episode. Like,
hey, what?
It's reasonable. Well, the first time that oh no, sorry, not Tex. I'm thinking
of Striker.
I'm thinking of Striker. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Tex is the big hellhound that is Verosika's bodyguard.
Yeah, the one that Luna's horny for and married to Queen Bee.
Not married, in a relationship.
Yeah.
Well, if they are married, they didn't make that explicitly clear, and that might be on me. But yeah, someone drew a very funny comic of Tex just going to Verosika, being like, "No, I can do this. Come on, please let me sing, please." And that's why he joined in the Fuck Blitz song. But yeah, all round good. Essentially, this episode just focused on Blitz and Stolas.
Yeah, and Verosika.
I meant of the main cast.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be even more strict, the main cast, it just focused on Blitz, because I don't think Millie, Moxie, or Luna even really showed up in this episode.
No, I don't think they did.
Which, you know, fair enough. They didn't need to either. But yeah, good time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of anything else. I think the visual gag of him popping back into the human world to say sorry to the dorks was funny, and then freaking him out a second time by giving a basket of gifts to the angel cherub fucker.
Yeah.
Very good gags all round, but for the most part, quite an emotional episode, and I genuinely cannot wait for more. I'm looking forward to seeing their their relationship evolve past this. Hopefully. I'm still rooting for Blitz and Stolas to be a thing, but this road bump desperately needed to happen.
Yeah, you don't have a payoff without a journey.
Anything else you want to add, Rick, on the Haluva Boss front?
No, just only that, like everyone else, looking forward to more, and the downside is, we're probably gonna have to wait.
I don't mind waiting. They usually pop out an episode during Halloween, so that might be the next one to expect. What we're saying, we're pointing out people who are on the LGBT rainbow and just saying, yeah, these people are awesome, check out their stuff. Although that doesn't quite apply to our first category, does it, Rick?
No, our first category is a fictional character. I think last year I picked Rain Whispers.
Yeah, I picked Barney, if I recall.
Yeah.
But yes, so that's what we're doing. We're going to do 2 this week, because obviously last week we had a bit of a snafu and we had to use a pre-record. This is actually live, you can tell. Haha, hello. But yes, Rick, we already spoiled it a little bit. The first category is fictional character. Who do you want to shed a spotlight on?
I'm shedding it on Dorian Pavis with a honourable mention to the Iron Bull. Dorian is a really fun character to just have around while you're playing in Dragon Age Inquisition. If you are playing as a female character, you can flirt with him, and he flirts back. But he very quickly lets you know that no, he's not into ladies. And if he were, he'd be set for life, because he has a arranged marriage with someone who he gets on incredibly well with, but they have one too many things in common.
Yeah, that's one thing Dragon Age Inquisition did weirdly well with their two solely gay characters, that I can recall at least, with both Sarah and Dorian, in that they both let you down incredibly gently when you're of the opposite gender. And I kind of don't like the fact that the game gives you the option to be a dick about it.
Yeah, it's weird. But the thing that really sells it for me is when it's just how heart-wrenching the little bit of story is when he talks about how his parents tried to use blood magic to change his orientation.
Oh yeah, the voice actor fucking nailed that line with the you tried to change me. I'm not even going to try and do it as well as the voice actor did, but trust me, it fucking hits hard.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even try to do the impression, because it has to be enjoyed well to a.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it has to be experienced within the context of the entire medium. So you need to see the character's facial expressions and the voice actor's performance, and it really sells the character, and that's not just all he is as well. And that's a running theme with all of our picks for this category so far, is that their position on the rainbow is not all the character is. It's like when people say, I want a strong female character. They don't want Hercules. They want a character that is written strongly.
Yeah, they want Samus.
Yeah.
Samus, who is a character that I can't remember if it was one game or two game, but everyone assumed was the dude.
Yeah, it was the first game. You could get her in a bikini right at the end.
We're completely fucking smashing everything we just said.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
But yes, who's going to be your pick of the rainbow for fictional characters?
Oh, this one was pretty easy for me. It's going to be Zagreus.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, the joke is made, and the joke will continue to be made, that Hades 1, because now there's a sequel, yay, is just the game for bisexual awakenings, and Zagreus himself is no exception.
Yeah, Bi Panic the game.
Like, for real. Like, Bi Panic the game, and then Hades 2 is Lesbian Panic the game.
Oh, it's not even Bi Panic in Hades 2, is it?
It's, well, maybe. It's one of those where the main character, I don't know how to describe it, to be honest, but like every character that she bumps into, it just feels more intimate with the female characters, and I think that's partly because of the whole coven aspect of witches.
Sure, okay.
Which I think has been an allegory for lesbians for a while, is like the witches' coven, or I might be making that up, I don't know.
It makes sense. But it definitely makes sense.
I'm holding my hands up on that one. That's just something I think. I don't know if that's actually correct. So it's one of those where, I don't know. The thing with Melanoy is there is one male character that she's bumped into where it seems like there might be something more than just friendship. Whereas every time she talks to Nemesis and Eris, it's just like, these characters are going to bone. And also, like... Yeah. Go on, sorry.
I was just thinking about the witches thing, yeah. Affinity for cats and rejection of general society. Yeah, it does read a bit like an allegory by modern standards.
Like I said, I don't know. It's just something I've always thought. Well, not always thought, but, when I've had the writing brain on when watching certain things, you're like, you could think this. It's like how vampires are more or less an allegory for sexual assault or grooming.
Yeah.
But we won't get into that. We're trying to keep this as a happy and fun podcast. Zagreus gets my vote. Him having a throuple with Megan Fan is great. You can get your flirt on with Medusa, but Medusa's just like, can we just be friends? And Zagreus is like, okay.
Yeah. Medusa's actually kind of also an honourable mention because being asexual is something that's not really brought up very often.
This is true. Medusa's a weird one because of the myths behind her, so let's not get too far into that, shall we?
Yeah.
Instead, let's introduce our second category for today, and you'll have two more categories for the rest of the month. But yeah, for today, the other pick of the rainbow we're doing is LGBT creator. I always want to say BLT, and I know it's wrong. But yes, Rick, who did you pick for this one?
I picked Obi Katie Cat. She's a metal guitarist and metal singer on YouTube. She has a VTuber model as well, and unlike most VTubers, she looks almost exactly like the VTuber model, apart from the cat ears. And I didn't know until a little bit later that she was transgender.
Okay.
It is incredibly important that I know that she has a girlfriend, because otherwise I would be in a lot of danger because I have a massive crush on her.
Okay, that's fair. Like the only other openly LGBT VTuber I know of is Kason. I'm sure there's more, but
there's. It's one of these open secrets that most people in that walk of life are on the rainbow somewhere. Like, I'm pretty sure Callie is asexual, and that's part of something that she's trying to skirt around.
That's actually a problem in the idol industry, isn't it?
Yeah. You need to put forward this persona of being both heterosexual and pure.
Yeah. But leave enough of a gap in the door that people can think that they can be gross with you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not joking, the idol industry... I bring this up every time, but, like, if you're a fan of idols, just be aware the idol industry's fucked. And I'm sure a lot of Western idol fans know that, whereas Japanese native idol fans are probably like, well, they don't think it's fucked because it's always been that way.
Yeah. One thing that made me really like her content was when she did a tutorial on how to metal raw, and I've not tried it yet, but I get it.
That's dangerous.
I've
seen many. Like, here's the thing: is I've not seen her tutorial. I've seen a few because I've always toyed with the idea, and I was like, I don't want to fuck my vocal cords up. I'm good.
But yes, absolute stunner. Go check her out, and incredibly skilled as well. So, who's going to be your pick of the rainbow for a creator?
Mine's a bit different, and I also don't know if I'm going to pronounce the name correctly because I've only ever seen it written down, so apologies in advance for that.
Sure.
My nod to creator goes to Dean DeBloid.
Okay. What are they known for?
They are known for Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon, and also they were the co-head of story for Mulan, the animated version.
Fair enough.
So this guy is a writer/producer, and is openly gay with Disney, which I think is a big deal, although that being said, until I did a bit more research than none, I didn't know this guy existed, and that's a fucking shame, because listen to that fucking pedigree.
Yeah, absolutely. Mulan's an interesting one as well, because as a character, Mulan is allegorical for a lot of transgender journeys, even though the character herself isn't meant to be in the Disney canon. It's pretty much confirmed that the historical one that the stories are based off of was essentially living one way, you know?
It's one of those weird ones because you've got to take the ancient version of gender into account, and it becomes a bit more iffy. Like, not just gender, but sexuality as well, because the example I always like to point to is Alexander the Great, who, by today's standards, would almost certainly be bisexual, if not outright homosexual. But by ancient standards, it wasn't really a thing. And the reason why we've got the big old joke of him and Hephaestus being like, oh, they were roommates, is that we don't actually know, because by ancient standards, they were a lot more affectionate without having to give a fuck. I'm convinced that they probably were lovers, but the problem with history is you need more proof than none, and a lot of stuff is like, you could swing it either way. And like, for fuck's sake, Alexander the Great's bodyguards were called the fucking companions, which is already gay as fuck.
Yeah.
And I say that with love, not to fucking be derogative, because, like, come on. If you had a battle-hardened unit of big, burly, tough men, and they're called the Companions, you're like, oh, those guys are having gay orgies every night, which, you know, more power to them.
I mean, that's what they call the Fighters Guild in Skyrim, so...
Yeah, and that's pretty gay too.
But this month is Pride Month, and we're going to start with our good old Pick of the Rainbow. What have you got for me this week?
I wasn't expecting you to just take the reins from me, you bastard.
Well, I didn't want it to go any further without forgetting it.
I've got it in my notes. Like, my notes are effectively a bullet point script. But yeah, it's Pick of the Rainbow. Usually Rick gives his first, so I'm going to immediately reverse it and say, Rick, you go first, to not scare the people.
I've got Uno reverse it. Okay, so today's theme is someone who's no longer with us, and I mentioned before we started recording that this one might be a little bit controversial. I'm going to go with Roy Horn, the animal handler from Siegfried and Roy.
Oh, right, yeah, cool. I didn't know either of them were confirmed to be gay. I thought it was just speculation.
Yeah, after they passed away, their close friends were able to confirm that they were partners both on and off screen.
Fair enough. It's something that was always speculated about because of their flamboyance on stage and their chemistry, but
and the fact that they live together.
Yeah, but dudes can just live with each other, man. Like, I'm not saying one way or the other that just because you're two guys living in the same house doesn't mean you're gay.
Yeah.
And vice versa. There are many couples that don't live in the same house.
There's also the potential that they weren't partners for the entire time.
I mean, I've got to be honest with you, like, with that sort of relationship, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot of polygamy going on.
Yeah, and also keeping it together for the business side, even after the romantic side ends.
Sure, but also, yeah, I can see why you said this was controversial. Not because of the questionable status of their LGBTness, but because Rick knows I don't like zoos, and the only thing worse than a zoo is an animal person parading them and fucking... There's a reason why they got mauled on stage.
Yeah, I mean, there's a... Roy's own personal theory is that because he was having a stroke at the time, the tiger dragged him off stage to safety and didn't know how to, do it with gentleness. And he defended this tiger until it died about 10 years later.
I don't think the tiger needed defending. The tiger acted like a fucking tiger, which, you know,
yes.
It's one of those things, whenever people defend an animal going apeshit and acting like an animal, it's like, you don't need to defend that. The animal acted like an animal. That's a natural instinct. I didn't realise he was having a stroke at the time of the incident. I never watched the incident. I don't particularly care for animal attacks. I'd rather just not look. But you saying he had a stroke is very interesting because that's... I could totally see a tiger or a lion or any predatory animal seeing someone having a stroke. Basically, you're completely fucking unable to move, more or less, when you're having one of those.
Yeah.
I could
Someone who they were afraid of and were trained by, essentially, and kept in line by their knowledge of how this person acts, suddenly becoming completely defenseless.
It's not even that. It's literally just the act of being... Like, you can take away all of the fucking, oh, they beat me, they do this, they do that, blah, blah, blah. Just the straight-up fact that if something displays prey instincts, a predator's switch turns on.
Yeah.
It's
like
why
if you run away from a cat, it chases you, is like what you said, wasn't it? Like the same with dogs, isn't it?
I don't know about dogs, because dogs are in this weird place because of how domesticated they've become. But with big cats, if you encounter one in the wild, you have to stand your ground and growl and fight, because if you run away, it immediately sees you as prey and it will hunt you down.
Yeah.
Obviously, it probably won't work against a lion or a tiger. I'm thinking of like pumas and mountain lions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a fan of Siegfried and Roy, but it's got nothing to do with the fact that they're gay. It's got to do with the fact that they clearly mistreated animals.
Yeah, well, he passed away in 2020 from complications from COVID. He had his spine severed by the attack, as it were, but did a lot for conservation and awareness, which I think is kind of the least you could do when you're using those rare animals as your livelihood.
It's a real fucking kick in the teeth for anyone who thinks about it for more than 2 seconds, because everyone is the fucking same. They always raise awareness for conservation and this, and it's like, oh, what we're doing is actually good. And it's like, no, it's not. This is your crutch to try and justify the evils you're performing.
Fair, yep. So yeah, controversial one. Who's going to be your pick of the rainbow for this week?
He passed away only last year, and it still felt. I'm, of course, going to give it to one Paul O'Grady / Lily Savage.
Ah, yes. Yeah, he's sorely missed by a lot of his fans. I personally got more and more disillusioned with his show on Radio 2, but that doesn't take away anything from his ability to be an entertainer on the reg when he was, actually in the persona of Lily Savage, which I found a lot more entertaining than his normal human persona when he was just being Paul O'Grady.
Well, it's weird because I never actually knew Lily Savage, apart from the fact that every time the Paul O'Grady show was on, my mum would go, oh, that's Lily Savage, and I'm like, I don't know who that is because I was born in 1992.
Yeah, I used to just turn off Radio 2 whenever he came on the weekend, because all he'd talk about is people's dogs and God bless all the time, and it got a bit old.
I never listened to his radio show. I watched the Paul O'Grady show, which was essentially just a talk show, like everyone fucking has one. And yeah, it was a bit of crack. It was good. Like, the main thing I want to point out is that despite making it, as it were, in show business, he still very much kept his working class background in check. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
There's a lot of people who make it big and they immediately start fucking pretending they didn't fucking come up from the grassroots. And in this country, the real problem is you've got people who are working class all their life, they make it big, and then they immediately become a Tory scumbag.
Yeah, Jim Davidson.
Jim Davidson is the fucking worst offender, because his dad would be rolling in his fucking grave.
Yeah.
Jim Davidson, the person who doesn't fucking live in this country so he can pay less taxes.
Yep.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about him. We're talking about Paul O'Grady. Paul O'Grady is basically, like, it's hard to think of a negative thing to say about the man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Possibly the most famous drag queen in Britain.
At least English one.
Yes.
Like, I think Dame Edna might have him edged out, but they're Australian.
Yeah.
It's one of those. And obviously, for a big portion of his life, he was married to a woman and he had kids. I did a bit of digging, and it's hard to tell whether or not he had a sexual awakening later in life, or if this was just something to do to... Because again, you got to bear in mind, Paul O'Grady, around in the 70s and 80s, not the kindest time to the gays.
No. You basically needed a beard at that time.
So, I don't want to harp on. Like, good guy. He championed a lot of, like, dog-based charities, which, if you want to be really nitpicky, it's like, help people first, but he also helped people, so there's really not much to complain about.
Yeah, totally.
Rick, today we've got basically free space. Who you shining a light on?
I'm picking someone who is not actually on the rainbow, but is a icon. I'm picking Dolly Parton, and if she's not one of your top very many favourite people, then you've not paid attention. She's a gay icon because she is such an accepting person. She has her good old charity for bringing books to children, and just generally is an absolute bastion of, if you don't like the way you look, put some money into it.
Like, not to be rude here, Rick, but I'm not going to deny the fact that Dolly Parton is the closest thing we have to a living saint, but you've really missed the brief of the point of this.
Yeah, this one was a free space, so that it doesn't fall into the categories of other things on Pick of the Rainbow so far. So, yeah, she's the reason that I picked it.
Free space is, it's still meant to be someone who's in the LGBT community, not just any old fucker.
Okay, but here's the deal. She's in the community in the fact that she's an absolute icon for the community, even though she isn't on the rainbow.
Yeah, but the point is spotlight on the rainbow. Like, you could do what you want, dude. I'm just saying, like, I feel like you knew I was going to be picky on this because you just kept talking without pausing for a breath, specifically because you didn't want me to jump in.
Okay, well, it seems like you're unhappy with Dolly Parton, but okay. Who's going to be your free...
Rick, I'm not even sugarcoating it. I've straight up said Dolly Parton is a saint, but she shouldn't be on this list.
Okay. So, who's going to be your pick for today?
I picked Claire Balding.
Yeah.
She's a bit of a toff, but whatever, I can look past that. She's, for those of you who don't know, she's basically a sporting broadcaster. She started out mostly with, basically horse racing, which is something, I wouldn't say near and dear to my heart, but something I watched a lot of when I was younger. And, she hasn't got that many controversies to her name. I think the biggest one is she took the piss out of a jockey's teeth once. But I think everyone pretty much accepted her excuse of she was pointing it out because a lot of jockeys have fucked up teeth because they've been kicked by a horse at one time or another. Turns out this chap just had fucked up teeth.
Yeah.
But, and allegedly she felt awful about it, and he's like, it's fine, because he ended up getting something done about it, and everyone had a laugh about it in the end. But yeah, it's one of those where that's unfortunate, but if that's the biggest blemish on your record, that's a pretty good record.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also really easy. Okay, it was really easy for me to forget that she was on the rainbow because I know her most from being a cancer survivor.
I didn't even realise she'd had cancer, to be honest.
Yeah, that was, it's probably 15 years ago now, but yeah.
Damn. Good for her. It's one of those where, like, again, another person where it's odd, because until someone told me, I didn't realise they were even on the rainbow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, I don't care if someone's out and proud or if it just happens to be something you are. Like, you do you. It's just, it's always an oddity. Like, at least with Claire Balding, it's just because I didn't look into it, as opposed to with Kevin Conroy, where he felt like he couldn't tell people.
Yeah. Until, like, really later on in his career.
Yeah, it's a real shame. But, I think Claire Balding gets it. The only negative thing I'd say about her is that, again, she is a toff, but oh well.
Well, once you get up past a certain income bracket in the UK, you're probably going to be at least a little bit posh.
No, it's not the income bracket, it's the pedigree, Rick.
Well, yeah.
That's the problem. When I say tough, I don't mean income bracket, I mean, no, they fucking proper breeding. She doesn't describe herself as that, that's my the way I read into it. But anyway...
it's not how she describes herself, it's how she carries herself.
It's not even how she carries... Well, they make it a big deal because she was on that fucking Who Do You Think You Are bullshit program.
Oh, yeah. One of those where, if you find out that you're technically royalty, then they'll just go, oh yeah, here we go. Here's a direct line to God.
Yeah, except in this case it wasn't that. It was just, no, here's two very posh people who are like great-grandparents.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those. Anyway, I digress. Rick, did you know the UK's running out of ghosts?
We're running out of ghosts, are we? Okay.
Right, okay.
First of all, no, we're not, because they don't exist.
Okay, so take this with a pinch of salt for two reasons. One, because ghosts don't exist, and two, it's from the Daily Mail.
Okay. There's even more reason that it doesn't exist.
So, the UK is running out of ghosts because, and fucking wait for this, Rick, because you're gonna fucking shit yourself, and I'm quoting here, older ghosts are dying off.
Older ghosts are dying off.
Now say that again loud for those at the back.
Older ghosts are dying off. Okay, so I understand some of the reasoning behind this in that, depending on how you interpret the legend of a ghost, that it might require people to remember it to be, to have power in the cultural zeitgeist.
By that logic, there should never have been a Victorian ghost as long as we've been alive.
Oh, totally. Like, the only reason for there to be something like that is for, like, word of mouth to be strong enough to pass down that same ghost, and by that double same token, that same ghost should not be dying off. The same reason there should never have been a Roman ghost, which I don't know if I told you about this one, that one of the ghost legends in York is that ghosts walked around from the knees up, because that's where the road used to be in the 0000s.
So here's the thing, Rick, is I kind of love that, because at least there's a logic to it. It's still bullshit, but like it's cute in its bullshit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, these short-ass ghosts that just only exist from the knees up.
Here's the thing, Rick, is while it would terrify me, I really do kind of wish that paranormal shit was real, because it would be interesting as fuck. It's not, it's all bullshit, but, the mind does fun things when it's left to its own devices for long enough, shall I say.
Yeah, like, the human mind looks for humans.
Like, my favourite thing is, lately, okay, here's the thing, Rick, is, how I call TikTok a poison, and YouTube Shorts is just copying TikTok?
Yeah, like, weaponized brain rot.
Yeah, for real, like, the other day I caught myself like 20 minutes into just scrolling shorts. I'd wasted 20 minutes of my life and I hated myself. But one of the things I scrolled past was someone going like, always trust your dog. And it was a dog always barking at the shed. And then it was this woman going, did you see the shed door opened on its own? And I'm like, motherfucker, wind exists. I've got a thing where the reason why I shut my door in my bedroom at night is because if I leave it even cracked slightly, by the morning it'll be wide open, because I've got all the windows open because it's summer and it's hot.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, wind exists. There's plenty of reasons to explain a lot of this shit.
Mine's the opposite. If I leave my door open, at some point it will slam, because wind will come and slam it.
Oh, that's even worse, because that'll wake you up.
Yeah, so, I either need to leave it closed or open with something massive to stop it from slamming.
Another film I watched was The Marvels, because it's finally out on Disney+.
Ah, yes, I remember watching this.
It was fine.
Yeah, I think it was a more accurate, not so much accurate. I think it was a better portrayal of Captain Marvel as a Captain Marvel film than the original Captain Marvel film.
I absolutely agree with you. In fact, I was thinking the entire time watching it, wow, this feels like a character and not a wooden fucking plank.
Yes.
I want to know who the fuck gave Brie Larson her acting direction in the first movie, because they did a shit job. Because she did fine in this movie. What the fuck? How did they fuck it up?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this movie had a female director, whereas the first one had a male one.
I honestly don't know, but if that was... How do you... If that's true, that bothers me even more. It shouldn't be that fucking hard.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. Character behaves like a character and not a plank. It's not something that needs to be written on a script, really, but apparently it does now.
I guess. But they had this problem with Star Wars, man. Like, I'm convinced that fucking Daisy Ridley's a fine actor, but they wanted her to act like a fucking stone.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen as well.
Yeah, that's just a Star Wars fucking issue, I guess.
Yeah. People writing Star Wars can't write Star Wars apart from people that don't need to make the movies.
You know what, come to think of it, I think that's why I gave Ridley the fucking benefit of the doubt, because I know Hayden Christensen can fucking act, but they gave him shit to work with.
Like, Anakin shines in the Clone Wars, where you can actually have a writer writing it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That was a good series. But yeah, we had 2 end credit scenes, and they were both okay, I guess.
Yeah.
I like the hint of the Young Avengers, but it's gonna take 5 years, Rick.
Yeah, it is. The last one took too long as well, but we kind of ignore it because it led up to the Avengers.
Yeah.
But oh well. This one is going to take even longer because they're going to do it through fucking series as well.
And that's another thing, Rick, is this film really hammered home that, hey, you don't need to watch the TV shows. Anything important that happens in a TV show will make a flashback in the movie.
Yeah, they're going to do a little abridged version in the movies. So, like, yes, you get a lot more context for Kamala Khan, but for Monica Rambeau, it's not that big of a deal. Like, yeah, you don't really need to know how or why she got powers. You just kind of, if you want to just accept it, you can just accept it. I'm pretty sure my parents, who I went to see the movie with, didn't remember that character from WandaVision, there we are, and just accepted that she was a hero.
Yeah, because guess what? She wasn't really a big part of WandaVision. Like, alright, she was, but she wasn't the focus. Like, I don't think anyone came out of that thinking, oh yeah, Rambo has powers now.
Yeah.
People came out of that going, oh boy, I wonder what they're going to do with White Vision. Oh, fuck all in 6 years. It's not been 6 years, but it fucking feels like.
Like, the same amount of time since, like, Mando Season 1 has been since WandaVision, because it basically came out both as launch titles for Disney+. And yeah, they've done a lot more with Mando than they've done with Wanda, because in the very next movie they kill Wanda.
Yeah, but just that universe's version of Wanda. Haha.
Oh no, teehee, the one that we care about because it's the one from the universe that we care about.
It's like character death is now meaningless in the MCU because they're doing multiverse bullshit. That's a fact. I'm not fucking. It's not up for debate. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the second end credit scene was fun because it made you go, oh, that's fucking Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
Yeah, it is.
But you're also like, oh, this is fucking stupid because it's more multiverse bollocks.
Yeah, it's just hammering home that Disney now really does own the Fox X-Men.
Like, it's weird because I'm excited for the prospect of more X-Men, but on the same hand, I don't want it to be the same X-Men from the previous movies.
Yeah. Because even the soft reboot movies, they did some interesting things with some of those characters, and yet not many of them ended well. The Borderlands movie.
Oh, okay. Fuck what I said before we started then. Go on.
So I didn't hate it as much as anyone else seems to hate it, but I do think that the actors that they picked were, on average, double the age of the character that they should have been portraying.
I mean, I don't really care about that. I mean, I do, but I don't. Here's the thing: is like my context for Borderlands is Borderlands 2. That's the game I played, and that's the game I give a fuck about. Borderlands 3, I played the intro, and it's kind of Borderlands 1 is very slow when you start.
Oh, it's incredibly slow when you start. I think Handsome Jack doesn't show up until like 2/3 of the way through, does he?
I don't know. I didn't get that far. That's why I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Borderlands 2 is my jam. And guess who's in it from the beginning of Borderlands 2?
Oh yeah. Handsome Jack with his face peeled off.
Yeah, just constantly fucking shit talking.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I digress. This movie is not good. I don't think it's good for people who have little context, and I think it's even worse for people who have all the context.
Yeah. All it needed was Handsome Jack.
But here's the thing that drives me crazy, and I'm sure it drives a lot of people crazy. As fans of the game, we all know Handsome Jack is one of the best villains ever because he's just so fucking hateable, but also he's so fucking funny. And in this game, they seem to have Handsome Jack, but they're like, we don't want to call him Handsome Jack because there'll be too much pressure. So instead, he's in charge of Atlas.
Yeah. Now, I think this is actually a thing that was like a plot point in 1. So, apart from the absence of Jack, it seems to follow the plot of the first movie relatively well. Like, it's the first time they've ever opened a vault. Lilith being a siren, except she's, they keep it on the down low until she does the stuff. And they do the stupid fake out where they try and make Tiny Tina think that she's a siren. I don't know why they did that.
Well, here's the curious thing, Rick, is, again, people who have played the games know Lilith is a siren. People who haven't played the games have watched movies before.
Yes.
It's very obvious what's going to happen. So why bother doing the bait and switch? I don't even know why fucking Tiny Tina was a MacGuffin in this movie. It would have been cool to just... They could have just had Tiny Tina show up in the junkyard and do crazy fucking explosive shit. I just want to point out, I am giving no guff to the actors. I think all the actors did a wonderful job. I don't think they should have played the characters they played, but they gave it their all. Even fucking Kevin Hart, who gives glimpses of Roland, but then the director's like, no, you gotta be Kevin Hart again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he has his big damn heroes moment when he's... That's what Roland is. That's what Roland does. And then he has to go back to one-liners and being a short man.
Yeah, we paid for Kevin Hart. We want Kevin Hart.
Yeah. There was a guy that stood up and was really angry in the theater after the movie finished. And and he went, Roland is meant to be big and serious. What's Kevin Hart got in common with Roland?
But here's the thing: is like I didn't really care too much about the physical looks because it's a movie. It doesn't fucking have to be a 1-to-1 translation. But the fact they made him so fucking not Roland.
Yeah, they even brought up the fact that he was short and made him a butt of jokes already.
Rick, I've got a question for you. Who was the piss scene for?
Who
was it for? I guess for children, because, okay, here's something that happened. When I was sitting down with my friends, I was like, this film should at least have one good action scene. Spoiler, it didn't. But we sat down and they were like, by the way, it's a 12A. And I went, what the fuck do you mean it's a 12A? I thought it was at least a 15.
Yeah.
And it shows, again, my bar for the movie to not be complete dog shit was to have one good action scene. So many cuts, so many muzzle flashes, purely because they can't show people dying.
Yeah.
And it just completely fucked it. None of the action scenes were really watchable.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of it and I'm seeing the panning shots of Lilith dual wielding pistols and shooting people off screen. It looked cool, but you didn't get to see the action. You just got to see Lilith do stuff in CGI. Green screen. Sorry.
The only thing I'll give credit for is, and I don't know why, but Krieg was the only character who was good in action scenes because he's melee, which means he's allowed to do wrestling moves.
Yes.
So
that's the thing. So it is basically the plot of the first game, but they switched out Brick and Mordecai for Krieg and Tiny Tina.
Tiny Tina should not have been a combatant.
No. I'm all for Tina being included and Tina being a mad bomber because that's basically what she does. But she didn't do enough of that. She threw bomb bunnies 3 times, which is more than 0.
And credit to the child actor, I believe that was Tina.
Yeah.
But, I don't know why she was included to the capacity she was. And I never actually watched the trailer for this movie. I just saw it and I thought, this is going to be a bad movie, but at least it'll probably be fun. I was wrong. But when I saw the poster and I saw Jamie Lee Curtis dressed up as she was, I was like, oh, cool, they've gender-bent Mordecai.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they haven't. She's meant to be fucking Tannis.
Yeah, Patricia Tannis, who's meant to be 31.
Again, the age thing doesn't really bother me. And, again, it's one of those where you got to give the actors some credit, because Jamie Lee Curtis, I was like, wow, she's portraying an autistic as fuck person very well.
Yes. People moaned about that, and I feel that these are the people that don't realise that Tannis is meant to be autistic in the show, and in the games as well.
I've only been... she wasn't in Borderlands 2 for a lot of it, and even I could tell, oh yeah, you're autistic as fuck.
Yeah.
and I say that with love.
Yeah, we say that as We say that as Peridot fans.
But yeah, the movie's not good. I feel bad for every actor involved in this. Even Jack Black, who, you know, all he did was voiced Claptrap. The funniest thing about that is he did go on a talk show to promote the movie, except he didn't promote the movie. He just shot the shit. I think it was with Conan. He just shot the shit for the entire interview slot, and at the end he was like, oh shit, I was meant to promote something. Oh jeez. And now just thinking back on Claptrap, like, we had a whole, like, half a minute scene, perhaps even a minute, I wasn't counting, where the joke was, haha, I'm pooing.
Yeah.
Which can be funny, but it wasn't in this context.
No, especially seeing he was making noise that they needed to not be making right then.
Well, they needed an excuse for an action scene, which would be fine if the action scene was good.
Yeah, and then it was a freaking chase.
It was a chase, but it wasn't. They did have a bit of a standoff in that room for a good chunk of it. But again, there were so many cuts, there were so many muzzle flashes, and it was in the dark. It wasn't lit well. Like, fuck. Yeah. Why is it 20 plus years after fucking Two Towers, the Lord of the Rings movie, not the fucking horrible tragedy? They can't. No one's done it as good as that.
Yeah, because they had lights.
For real, man. Oh, Jesus. It's not a good movie. I don't recommend it, and I'm really bothered that I spent money to see it, and I convinced 2 friends to spend money to see it.
Yeah, I don't feel as bad watching it because I was going to go see it with my folks, but then I saw that the reviews were coming in as mid at best, so I went to go see it on my own because I had nothing to do that evening, and I was home alone. So
For about 24 hours after it released, it was sat on 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not something that happens.
And the last thing that I've seen out in the wide world is Mike Mearls. You might know him as the guy who made D&D 5th Ed. He was the first design lead and was basically in charge when it was first released. He got reshuffled thanks to some controversy. Most recently, he was Larian's 5th Ed consultant.
Yep.
Yeah, he's now been let go from Hasbro alongside a lot of many people who've been just axed from Hasbro.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad you brought this up because I've also got this on my notes. I'll express my thoughts how I written them, and that is, in classic scumbag fashion, Hasbro has laid off 1,100 workers just before Christmas, which, you gotta remember, earlier this year, they let go 800, bringing the total kill count to 1,900 members of staff, minimum, that they've axed this year.
That's just in the big exoduses that they've caused. This isn't counting individuals and little axings that just don't make the news.
It's capitalism at work. Yeah, I know I say that a lot, but this time it actually genuinely is. This isn't we're going to give Hasbro shit because they need shit thrown at them, but they are by no means the only company that does this.
Oh, totally.
It's just what happened is they're like, oh, we didn't make as much money as we wanted to this quarter. What's a quick way to bump our numbers up so our investors look good? Let's sack a load of staff. Yeah, that sounds good. And now the CEO gets an extra 0 on his bonus.
Yeah. Well, the stupid thing is they have to pay these people. Like, a lot of these people will need severance packages.
Okay, it still gives them a bump in profit.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's very short-sighted of them.
Oh, yeah, it's incredibly short-sighted.
And you mentioning Sven, the Larians guys, he went on record as saying that pretty much everybody on the D&D team that they worked directly with on Baldur's Gate 3 is no longer with Hasbro.
Yeah, Mike Mearls, chief among them. He's the one that I've focused in on because he's basically the main one that I know. I only know like 4 or 5 people on the D&D team. Most of them have been or became or are no longer the creative leads. Mearls was the one that I enjoyed because he did a thing called the Happy Fun Time where he would basically do what the Dungeon Master's Guide shows you how to do in terms of tweaking and homebrewing things for yourself, but like he did some other examples of what he would do for certain things, and some of those things ended up being really fun, and then very shortly after that he got reshuffled away.
Yeah, so it's really odd that you're using the term reshuffled because that's got negative connotations in my mind. As in, usually when someone's reshuffled, it's, oh, you did a crime, so we're going to put you in the back rooms for a year.
Well, kind of. He basically, kind of unknowingly, but also, if you had any idea why this was an issue, basically gave the details of abuse victims to the abuser in the guise of, well, not even in the guise, basically saying, is this true? And just handed him the contact details of all the people that this guy had abused.
In which case, I would have fired him then, accident or no.
Yeah, fucking idiot. Socially.
My Hero Academia ended, and people are fucking unhappy with it.
Yeah. I've seen the chapter.
Yeah, I also read the chapter, despite having no context. And without context, it seems bad.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a "and the adventure continues" final kind of panel that implies that, yeah, if he wanted to do more, he could do more, but yeah, this is your ending for now. The big deal, though, is that he has specifically shied away from confirming or sinking any ships, because he has seen that shippers are animals.
Yeah, except what's actually happened with the way he ended it is everyone's like, oh, Deku immediately got abandoned by everyone for 8 years.
Yeah.
That's not a good way to end your story.
Yeah, well, he's a teacher now.
Yeah, but 8 years, Rick.
Yeah.
8 years, everyone left him alone and abandoned him, including all potential shipping partners. Oh, by the way, he got cucked by Bakugo and the little fucking grape head dude. That's not me saying that. That's what fans have decided to... Okay, I'll put it this way. The fans are being super fucking not generous to this ending. I'll acknowledge that. But you know what I'm like, Rick. I find it incredibly funny when everyone's first reaction is cuck.
Yeah.
Like, I find the joke with what's his name's dad in Rick and Morty always watching dressed as Superman. I find that hilarious. I find Plagius in the Cup Cave fucking great. I think it's hilarious. And fucking the way My Hero Academia ends is Deku loses all his powers and then becomes a fucking cuck. Like, fucking, what is wrong with the internet? It's so funny. A spoiler for My Hero Academia ending, I guess.
Yeah. Becoming a super cuck.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But people are making fan art of it. Like, they're not showing anything graphic. They're just showing Deku crying while Bakugo is, like, showing a fucking ultrasound scan of what's happened to Ochaku, or however the fuck you say her name.
Yeah, Ochako, yeah. There was a George Carlin AI special put out recently.
Here's the thing, right, is I saw the tweet about this, and I agree fully that while I'm not the biggest fan of George Carlin's comedy, because while it's poignant and I find his way of expressing things amusing, he never makes me laugh.
Fair.
That being said, I agree entirely with the tweet that George Carlin would probably be rolling in his grave.
His daughter has put out a statement that, yes, he was beloved, but he's no longer walking this earth. Mind like that will never walk this earth again. If you want new comedy, there are new comics. Give them a chance. Don't do this.
Yeah, sure. Like, there's not much for me to say. Like, I applaud AI as a tool to help people.
Yes.
I do not applaud AI being used to, well, basically bring back the dead, for lack of a better term, and stealing other people's hard work. Those are big no-nos.
Katawa Shoujo releases on Steam today.
What?
Katawa Shoujo, the 4chan visual novel.
No, I was saying what in disbelief, not what as in I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So,
does this mean we can finally have an excuse to do a retrospective on Katawa Shoujo, which I've been pushing for since we started the podcast?
Well, I guess, yeah, I can just go through, get my achievements.
Now that it's relevant again.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Oh, cool, we were running out of After Dark ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Katawa Shoujo is one of those really amazing things, and by that I mean, my mind was blown when I was told after playing it that, oh, did you know this was made by 4chan? And I'm like, how? It's treated weirdly sensitively considering it's made by them guys.
Well, except that even the name just means gimpy chicks, essentially.
You only know that if you speak Japanese.
Yeah, like it's like Katawa is when referring to a person is like the equivalent of saying like Spaka or whatever.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's that bad.
Ooh. Yeah, but Lily though.
Oh yes.
We could have an argue about waifus right here, right now, but we're not going to do that. You're going to have to tune in to when we do a retrospective.
Yes. And how everybody ended up on frickin' Rin's route first. Oh, sorry, they ended up on Emi's route first.
I was going to say, like, the girl with no legs is who I ended up with, and that was just because
Yeah, the nurse says go do exercise, and you do exercise, you have a heart attack, and they end up on Emi's route.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have to refuse racing her, basically, in order to not, unlock anyone else's route.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that in depth on a retro, perhaps next Friday.
Maybe so.
It's not going to be next Friday. We've got something better.
It's not going to be next Friday. I'm not going to play through it that quickly. Especially now that I've got freaking Road Trader.
I was going to say, it's difficult to play games one-handed.
I can do it. When it's a mouse game, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the piss anyway. I don't...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's not...
It's one of those visual novels that it has sex scenes, but I can't imagine wanking over it.
Did you know that the stick was inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame?
What, the joystick?
No, the humble, physical stick.
Well, you mean a stick you pick up in the woods?
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a toy.
Yeah, like, it's a weird one where... It's both the most universal thing that kids play with, and yet also not really a toy that's been designed.
Well, that's just it. Is Tool Hall of Fame is like, it suggests to me something you sell. Like
Yeah.
a toy is something you buy, not something you just pick up off the ground. Like, yeah, I will play with a stick, but like someone doesn't get the credit for inventing the stick, so therefore it shouldn't be in a Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I would say that Paper Airplane would belong there, because that is something you play with, even if you make it yourself in like 2 minutes.
You're fucking wrong.
All right.
If you put the paper airplane in, you have to put the stick in my opinion.
Sure.
That's just how it works. I don't mind if you put the paper airplane in, but you can't say paper airplane yes, stick no. Now, what I would say is a good middle ground is, do you remember those foam kits that were little foam, essentially a sheet of paper made out of foam that had patterns on it like a Spitfire, and you put it together and made a plane?
Yeah. So they gave you a little plastic propeller to put on the foam thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, to give it some weight at the front so it didn't just like bank up and do a fucking loop.
And the really dog's bollock patterns would cost £1.
Yes.
Or if you went down the car boot sale, you could get 4 for £1 because no fucker could sell them.
No. Well, yeah, they were also sold at the newsagents, and when you got sent with £1 to go buy whatever you wanted from the newsagents, like, people would, like, as a kid, you'd buy sweets, wouldn't you? Like, you wouldn't buy the frickin', like, whoopee cushion or the throwable foam thing. Although when you'd eaten your sweet and your mate had got the foam thing still, you were like, oh shit, maybe I should have bought the permanent item.
Rick, I've got a question for you. Have you seen the horrifying still images from the live-action porn parody of SpongeBob?
No.
Okay, so this was like a meme when I was in college because... And to this day, I don't know if it was real, if you know what I mean, because I don't want to look it up, because I don't want to see those characters doing things. But, like, it was a bloke. Was it a bloke? I can't even remember. It's been so long. But, like, if you look up the words... I'm just going to do it on my phone. Fuck it. I need an accurate description for what I'm about to describe because it's been so long. Live action SpongeBob porn parody. Because, again, it blows the mind.
Yup. Although you did also send me an image about 3 weeks ago of, oh no, today I learned I would fuck SpongeBob, seeing anime SpongeBob, and I just replied, that's just Amelia Watson.
Indeed. Okay, so I've got the picture. It's literally a dude. He's got his face painted yellow, and he's in a SpongeBob SquarePants costume, like a mascot costume.
Right.
And opposite him is Sandy Cheeks, that appears to be a black woman in a spaceman outfit, which, to be fair, is Sandy Cheeks.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate Sandy Cheeks.
And, I can't imagine this is sexy.
The query is, who is it for?
What I suspect is it was some kind of tax write-off.
Maybe.
Like, because it can't have made money.
No. That said, from the amount of eyes that it got, it might have made some ad revenue.
Yeah, but I don't think it made enough money to offset the costs.
Oh, probably not, no.
I also don't even know what website it would have been featured on. Like, and I'm not looking that amount of it. I was just looking at the screenshot because my memory was very fake. But if you look at the guy dressed as SpongeBob, it's horrifying.
Hey, I mean, if it's Bikini Bottom gone wild, it'd be on Pornhub, wouldn't it?
Get out. Guess the gimmick. I've prepared some names for you for people who have obvious gimmicks, and I was wondering if you could guess them. Dump Matsumoto is a bit of an obvious one as to what her gimmick is, because it's very much in her name.
Yeah, dump. She hits you like a dump truck.
Literally.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go with guess the gimmick.
Alright, I've got 6 names here, and they're going to get steadily more difficult. Are you ready?
Let's go.
The first one, Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant, he is a big fucking lad.
Yeah, he's a giant. He's the 8th wonder of the world.
Yeah.
That's 1 point for you. Second one, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, as a snake, is he? He's a skinny guy who's a bit of a bastard.
He's not that skinny, but he is slippery like a snake and a bit of a bastard. He also carries a snake to the ring. I'll give you that one.
Okay, so 2.
Number 3, Isaac Yankem, DDS.
Isaac Yankem. So I don't know what the DDS is going to stand for, but Does he go for the squirrel tackle, where he goes for the nuts?
No, he's a wrestling dentist.
Okay.
Isaac Yankum.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yanks him. Okay.
Number 4, the Bushwhackers.
Oh, they're Australian.
Oh, you're so close. New Zealand.
Oh, New Zealand. Okay.
Second to last one here, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Okay.
Oh, you know
I've
this one,
heard
do you?
of this guy, but I don't know anything about him because I knew someone on Phantasy Star whose name was Hacksaw Jim Cutton.
I've also brought him up on the podcast several times.
Yeah. Does he have a hacksaw?
No, he carries a 2x4.
Okay.
He's also very much American patriot.
Yes.
Okay, last one. Jushin Thunder Liger.
Jushin Thunder Liger.
Now,
Is he a Siegfried and Roy themed animal owner?
No, he's not. I was just about to say, this is the toughest one to get based on the name alone. He's basically a Sentai hero.
Okay. Fair enough. See, I'm going to go with my 2 points.
Did you get 2 points? I thought you got 3. Oh, no, you didn't get Isaac Yankum. Never mind. Ignore me.
No,
I'd say
didn't get
2
Isaac
and a half for
Yankum.
Bushwankers.
Yeah,
Bushwankers?
the Bushwankers.
Oh, Bushwhackers even. Oh.
I forgot how much I love Mystery Dungeon, and it's just such a cute concept.
It's okay. I've never liked the intro of you were a human and now you're a Pokemon. It's very weird as a concept. Can't you just be a Pokemon? But then you'd have no excuse to ask all the questions because you'd know how everything works. It's just so convoluted and silly.
Yeah, and it's so formulaic at this point as well that you're always a human who becomes a Pokemon. You always get a partner, and you always go away at the end because the world is saved. And you go away for like 5 minutes and then you come back because your partner is sad and you don't want to make your partner sad.
And you can't evolve until the post-game.
Yeah. I think in the latest one you can with like a super scarf, but it's temporary.
So who gives a fuck?
But yeah. You just... So you can pick something that you like the final form of as well, and you get the temporary power-up and
Jesus
look cool
Christ.
in both forms.
I remember now, the early dungeon games, they used to make you take a quiz.
Yep.
And that's how you determine what Pokemon you were, so you couldn't pick. I'm so glad in the more recent games you can just go, fuck what my personality quiz said I should be. I want to be this.
Yeah. I did the personality quiz on this one. It gave me Cyndaquil like 3 times. I'm like, okay, no, I don't want to be Cyndaquil.
Yeah, man. Like, it was a very big part of GameFAQs when those games came out, was just like, here's the quiz answers if you want X Pokemon.
Yeah, here's how to cheat on the quiz if you want to be an Eevee, and hope that these questions come up, because if they don't, then you're going to get Machop.
But the weird thing is I like being Machop at least.
Sure.
Because I like Machamp. Machamp's cool.
Yeah. And I went to a speedway. I have not been to a speedway before.
Well, it's in a racetrack.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was Desi driver. I still managed to pound 4 cans because we were there for long enough. And it was fun. It was a nice way to meet different people who are not just family. The interesting thing there is that even though Bogans get a bit of a bad rap for being uncultured, like the way that they're not cultured is by being fun. So I'm all for it. They also told me a couple of stories about ghosts. And I made one of them actually crack out laughing by doing the Jimmy Carr one. You know, there's a really easy way to tell if your house is haunted. It isn't, but apparently they all believe in ghosts. So after laughing, they then went on to tell me about real ghosts that are in that hill over there, because on the hill next to it is an old army training camp, and people used to crash into that hill over there, and that's why it's haunted.
Here's the thing, Rick. You and I are atheists. Mm-hmm. It's not a fact we broadcast because we really don't give a fuck. But with the territory, you can't then believe in fucking spectres and spirits and stuff, but not believe in some sort of greater power. That's my look at it. However,
yeah.
If I'm in a creepy place, it's dark, and there's weird noises, my brain immediately goes, there's a fucking witch in these woods. Yeah. And then 5 seconds later, or when I'm away from the scary place, I'm like, boy, my brain just goes straight there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Your brain just goes haywire. The latest Hell of a Boss came out, Season 2, Episode 9, was it?
Episode 10.
Episode 10, yeah.
One of us actually takes notes when they write notes, guys.
Okay, I didn't even write a note on this, because I just watched it and enjoyed it. Yeah, I watched it and enjoyed it. It was a Millie-focused episode.
Okay, it was about 50-50.
Yeah, Millie and Blitz are in it, and Moxie and Luna are side gags, and yeah.
The episode was never going to be serious. It's called Ghost Fuckers.
Oh, yeah. And as is the way, part of it gets really real.
Yeah,
but it ends on a generally high note for everyone.
I'm really in two minds of this episode because on the one hand, as always, the animation was beautiful. The fight scenes, what little we got, were enjoyable. I'm getting sick of Blitz and his bullshit, and it's and it's one of those annoying things where it's something I want to criticize, but at the same time, you can't criticize it too much because that's the fucking point. But it's just like, I get it. He's a piece of shit, and he thinks he's a piece of shit, and everyone's like, you're not that much of a piece of shit, but he is though.
Yeah, because I think the worst part of it is that the other characters are kind of enabling it because they're all saying you're not that bad, and they're getting him back to his old self, which is kind of the point. But also, it's not gonna be a good resolution if he just goes back to exactly the way that he was before.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They've been teasing us for like a year and a bit now, probably more, that, by the way, the fire Blitz caused totally killed his own mum, and we got semi-confirmation, but it's like the 5th time it's been semi-confirmed.
Yeah, like,
it's like, we get it. He did this. Yeah. If at this point, if they do a swerve and actually Blitz didn't cause the fire, or Blitz didn't kill his mother via the fire, then it's like, oh, all of these were red herrings, and that's just having a swerve for the sake of having a swerve. So it's one of those where they're drilling the point home, and it better be the actual point at this point.
Like you can see the swerve for the sake of the swerve coming a mile off.
Yeah. And again, it was always implied, but we got pretty explicit glimpses that, Blitz got beaten the shit out of by his dad.
Yes.
Which, again, it's set in hell. No one's nice here.
No.
I think Millie's backstory is also a bit garbage, but whatever.
Yeah, like, I think this is the first time that we see that Millie and Blitz are actually, like, good friends.
No, we kind of knew. Well, again, it's show don't tell, isn't it? Like, we could pick up from the way things go on. When they're not on a job, they're pretty pally, or at least, put up with each other's bullshit in the case of Millie towards Blitz. The thing that I'm confused about is, well, not confused about, but sort of poo-poo, is Millie was always a badass.
Yes.
It's just weird.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I get it. The idea is meant to be that Blitz has this vision and we can be better than those fucks think we are, and it very much plays into his character. But it's just like, Millie could always do this shit, and it's only because they needed a reason for Millie to owe Blitz.
Yeah. Like, so the reason they do is they just have her stuck in wrath like all the rest of imps.
Yeah. Although even that's not true, because we know Greed's got a bunch of imps as well.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what, the thing that actually generally surprised me is that Millie and Moxie weren't already a couple when Blitz made his company.
Yeah. That was a bit weird, but like, it's kind of cute to see that there is a little bit to find out about that.
I mean, I don't think there's much to find out about it. I think that's as much of a glimpse as we're going to get.
Oh yeah, totally. But there is the door open for exploring that in future if they need to. Even if all they do is put it in one of the shorts.
Yeah, but again, that doesn't seem to be what shorts are for. Shorts are for dumb bullshit, not for lore.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's my take. I could be completely fucking wrong.
Yeah, I think the shorts now are for doing IMP missions.
Yeah, except we got one in the main episode.
Yeah.
Speaking of, their target being a fucking really badly humanized Alastor.
Oh, yeah. And at the end, just going, fuck hotels.
as soon as I saw his design, I went, oh, they just want to have a dig at people, don't they?
Yeah. Fuck hotels.
Well, that was Blitz, right? On his way
Yeah, it
out.
was. He said, it says at the end, yeah.
That sounds like a real dig at whoever making the split between Has-Been and Haluva, because again, like, my knowledge isn't as up to date on Has-Been really, but I do know that originally Blitz and Moxie were going to be imps that occasionally stayed at the hotel.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little fun jab at that behind the scenes bullshit.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's just the constant hammering of certain points that we've already had hammered into us. I'm not a fan of. It's I'm not poo-pooing the show. It's something everything does. I just am not a personal fan of it.
Sure. Yeah, in general, I like the episode, and yeah, I appreciate your grievance with certain smaller choices that are just a bit of a niggling thing.
I didn't even dislike the episode. It's just, it could have had other things here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, out in the world.
Okay.
Well, I mean, how much more do you want to talk about Hell of a Boss?
I just wanted to say I thought the Luna and Moxie side gag was awesome.
Oh, it was cute. Yeah, it was very cute. I do like how Luna was paying enough attention that she was able to immediately notice that Moxie had done wrong. And then carry him off before he set the whole thing on fire.
Yeah, and then Ghostfucker's got a musical, because that's the only way to make Moxie watch anything is if it's a musical.
Yeah.
I went and watched Transformers 1. I threatened to last week, and I actually did it.
Yeah, a mutual friend of ours has told me in between then and now that he thinks it's the best movie he's seen this year.
Well, it's not the best movie I've seen this year, because there's been a couple. But,
Deadpool 3, yeah.
it's definitely the best animated movie I've seen this year.
Sure.
It is beautifully animated. If anyone has a criticism about the animation, I don't think they saw this film.
Yeah. I believe the things that were said about it from people that had been to see it early on was the worst thing about this movie is the trailer.
The trailer is so weird in retrospect. I saw one trailer before this movie, and it is not what we got.
No. The trailer makes it look bad.
To be fair to the trailer, part of the reason why me and my buddy went to see it is it looks awful. We've got to watch this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, fuck, it's actually good. What is wrong with the guys making trailers?
Yeah. I guess it might be a double bluff, and you were the only people that the trailer worked on.
But you got to understand, this movie is explicitly a kids' movie.
Yeah.
And the theatre was filled with kids.
Yeah.
It got its target. It's one of those where, as long as it's a PG and the parents can see that it's not going to be too fucked up, parents will be like, oh, we'll keep the kid quiet for 2 hours, you know? I think that's what they were banking on with the trailers. But, the only criticism I have is there was a very early thing with, he's not called Optimus, but he's Optimus.
Orion Pax, I think his name is.
Yeah, Orion Pax, and Megatron is called DB16 or something, and, who cares? It's Megatron and Optimus Prime. I didn't take note of any of the fake names, because it's at the end of the movie, that's Megatron and that's Optimus Prime. They make that very clear.
Yes.
But the beginning of the movie, near the beginning, you've got this thing where Optimus Prime is going there must be more to life. Skip stone across lake. It's so fucking generic crap. I didn't like it at the beginning. And then it very quickly amped up.
Yeah, good shit.
After about 25 minutes, I was getting into it, but the beginning intro plot was so basic bitch that I've seen 100 times before that I was kind of depressed. But it's just a good movie. You've got Starscream near the end. He's voiced by Steve Buscemi, and he fucking nails it.
Okay, yeah.
I knew I recognised Optimus. I'll tell you what, Chris Hemsworth was really good as Optimus.
Sure.
I didn't recognise it was Chris Hemsworth until he was doing hero shit. Then it sounded like Chris Hemsworth.
Sure, I get you, because, when he's doing the hero shit, he can just, sound like Thor.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, there's nothing bad with having a celebrity voice classic characters. Just don't do your fucking voice, Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Jesus.
I'm just saying, how can you have two vastly similar actors voicing such iconic characters and doing vastly different jobs with both? Chris Hemsworth knew the job description. He did it well. Every voice actor in this fucking film nailed it.
Sweet.
So voice acting was perfect. Animation was fucking crisp. It looked gorgeous. The plot was a bit shit to start with, but it very quickly picked up. And I blame that on me being a 32-year-old man.
Sure.
If you're a kid, this is probably your first time dealing with this type of story.
Yeah, like a coming-of-age story that ramps up into action.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's coming of age. It's just such a generic thing of they keep beating us down and what we should rise up above it. It's been done 100 times. It's a good message, don't get me wrong. It's just they did it so generically to begin with. And
okay.
I won't spoil any of the details of the film. I will just say go watch it. It's a great movie. This movie has one of the most brutal murder scenes I've ever seen in a kid's film. But they're allowed to do that because they're robots.
Yeah, Samurai Jack logic.
Megatron picks up a character, holds him above his head, and tears him in half.
Yep. The good old pull apart special.
But there's no blood, just a bunch of circuits scattering everywhere, so it's okay for a PG.
Yep, just circuits and sparks. And oil.
And I'm going to mention another thing as well, is they do a really good job of Optimus Prime is right.
Okay.
Like, he is the de facto good guy. He says, we should do this. We should rise above what this person did. And he's correct. However, they also do a really good job of Megatron's like, I'm going to murder this bastard. And I'm also thinking, Megatron is correct. This person has to die.
Yeah. Megatron's motivation is valid in this situation.
Yeah, the only problem is he has no plan after killing the person, and that's the problem.
Sure.
But it's so good. They even do the fucking... You know, someone who's like, I'm not kneeling in front of this prick?
Yeah.
They even do that quite well. It's a generic moment, but they did it well.
Right, okay.
But yeah, honestly, I want you to watch this movie so we can talk about it in depth.
Good shit.
And there's a post-credit scene, actually,
Okay.
an actual post-credit scene after the big old movie's crawl, the crawl of all the characters, and it's like, yeah, cool, we're getting more of this.
Cool. Whether it be another movie or a Netflix series or whatever.
It won't be a Netflix series, I don't think. Not after what. I won't go into that. But it does feel like it's angling more for a TV show than a sequel movie.
Sure, I feel it.
And the old Hasbro method of selling toys worked, because after we went out of this movie, my friend said, I kind of want to buy a Transformer, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Just to have on the shelf.
2 weeks later.
The only thing I've really done this week is I have also watched Transformers 1, which is something that you did last week.
Yes, you touched upon this, and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts.
I enjoyed it, and spoilers for the foregone conclusion. I think the only thing I found weird about it, other than, how mystifyingly bad the trailer was compared to how good the actual movie was, is Megatron deciding to, be Megatron at the end the way that we know him, because, until that point, most things were kind of sympathetic.
I kind of understand what you mean, but, again, it makes perfect sense from Megatron's point of view.
Yeah, it's a kind of, we'll tear everything down, but also, why would they call themselves the Decepticons?
Okay, the reason they're calling themselves the Decepticons is because they will never be deceived again. They make that clear in the film.
Yeah, but that's such a weird wording of that. But
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. However, because this is an origin movie and there's not a war, this is essentially setting up the war between Decepticons and Autobots, which the Autobots aren't really named.
Well, they do call them the Autobots, and let's say, because Prime goes, oh yeah, we're autonomous, and that means that all robots here on Cybertron are Autobots.
But that's what I'm saying, though, because Megatron straight up calls themselves Decepticons, but Optimus doesn't straight up call themselves the Autobots. That's the only point I'm making. I know they use the words that they mash together, but whatever. So because this is setting up the war between Decepticons and Autobots, they need to have everybody be good guys to start with.
Yeah.
However, this also falls down a little bit because Soundwave's in the movie.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's a weird one where it's Soundwave and Starscream and Shockwave is the third.
Yeah, sorry, I said Soundwave. I meant Starscream. Soundwave is usually quite a G.
I mean, Soundwave is also a Decepticon in the...
but he's ride or die with Megatron. Starscream's always trying to fucking take over as leader.
Yeah. Starscream, Steve Buscemi as well.
Yeah, I told you, right? Perfect. Absolutely nailed it.
Yeah.
And
it's great.
Did you see what I meant with Chris Hemsworth not sounding like Chris Hemsworth at all?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, exactly. You can do this. Fuck you, Chris Pratt.
And you can also, feel the vocal evolution as he starts to try and sound more like classic Prime.
It's so good. Because Chris Hemsworth has already, we've had years of Chris Hemsworth as Thor.
Yeah.
He can do the heroic booming voice if he wants to.
Yeah.
And they didn't
and we also know
it.
that he can. And we also know that he can do it in an accent that is not his native, because it's easy to forget that he's an Aussie.
Yeah. I did not learn that fact until disappointingly late.
Yeah. But liked it. Don't know if I'll watch the inevitable set of sequels that come out of it, but it was fun.
I honestly suspect they're angling for a show.
Yeah. It feels like the grounding for a series. I can see that stuff just being dialed back, recast all of the big parts, and go from there.
Well, again, the beauty of it is, despite having really big names in the cast, they didn't sound like themselves. They were doing characters.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 remake came out literally this morning.
Okay, I'm assuming you're downloading it right now.
It's only about 11 gigs.
Alright, okay.
So I downloaded it very quickly, and I've played about an hour of it this morning before the podcast.
Oh, even better. Are you enjoying it so far?
I'm so happy.
Good shit.
What they've done immediately that I can tell you that's different is, in the old games, there was a bunch of events you could have just happen, but if you wanted to know how to do them, you'd have to either look up a guide or just know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, there's a whole section in your UI where if you press this button, it tells you the steps you need to go to unlock an event.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that being, like an actual boost.
Yeah, so there are personal events and there are historic events. Historic events kind of just happen anyway, because all the pieces just happen. But you can choose not to see the historic events, which means you can prevent land changes from occurring effectively.
Okay.
A lot of these events are this person gets pissed off at this person and takes over their lands, and that just transfers territory without a battle having to happen.
Yeah.
They brought back the same system from original 8, where it's literally every year you can select as a start point, except for the tail end of the of the years, because then it does like 7-year jumps, because not a lot happens at the end of Three Kingdoms.
Sure.
I also suspect that in a month, maybe 2, we're going to get a bunch of DLCs that are additional scenarios.
Okay.
Yeah, to go on to fictional rather than historical. If you pre-ordered the game,
Sure,
which I did by about 2 days, you get a couple of fictional scenarios for free, including the alliance against Cao Cao.
Okay.
And what if Gongsun Zan had beaten Yuan Shao instead of the other way around? Which, I appreciate you don't play Romance of the Three Kingdoms games, Rick.
No, I don't.
In almost every single game, Gongsun Zan actually beasts Yuan Shao because he's just got better armies in the game.
Sure.
Even more famously, Yuan Shao also 9 times out of 10 will beat Cao Cao because he's just got a bigger army at that point in history. But obviously, with historical events, as pretty much just scenes, Cao Cao gets auto wins, so you know.
Sure, fair enough.
Yeah, it's fun. I can't wait to play a lot more of it. I've made my own custom character. I'm playing as Cheng Shi because I always play as him. That was the name of my character in that fucking online tabletop game I told you about, Rick.
Yep, fair enough.
And the game looks very pretty.
Sweet.
Which is probably the biggest thing they could have done for this remake and was a must, and they nailed it. About the only criticism I can level at it at the moment is there's this thing called CG faces.
Right.
Certain characters will just move their faces. However, it looks like it's done by a very shoddy AI, and it looks incredibly uncanny, and I don't like it, so I'm probably going to turn those off.
Okie dokie.
It doesn't add anything, but when you're not expecting it to happen and a character's face moves, you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, fair enough.
It doesn't look natural or right in any way.
Oakley dokley.
2 weeks later.
I've obviously continued to play Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 remake.
Yeah.
Last week I only played an hour. This week I've played a significant amount more. The AI in combat is really dumb.
Yep.
It's very stupid. It doesn't know what it's doing, which isn't a problem as far as the opponent is concerned, but it is a problem when it comes to your allies.
Oh man, so all of your allies are just bound by crap AI. Oh man.
Yeah, so, okay, here's how that game works. If you're only an officer, you only control your unit in combat.
Right.
And there's been more than one occasion where I've controlled my section of the army where I've been a governor of a state, city-state, and my allies have requested reinforcements. I've gone there, I've controlled my army, which is usually only 2 units because I don't have that many officers in my city. And the place I'm assisting only has 1 unit on the map, and it's like, okay, the enemy only has to wipe out that 1 unit and they win.
Yeah, so even if you get there almost in time, all they have to do is a little bit of effort, and yeah.
So here's where the problem comes in, is the officer I'm controlling is a custom officer, because I like doing that shit, and my officer is good at cavalry, so I'm always leading a cavalry unit. So I can go across the battlefield pretty fucking quick, as can my other unit. We charge in, we hold up the enemy force, we only have to kill half of them because they've got their own reinforcements. Who cares about the reinforcements? They don't count towards the victory condition.
You jog for your life and save the day.
However, what happens is me and my other unit, I have to position them in a way that they form almost a wall. But what will happen is it will go to the one unit who's defending the city that I'm coming to assist's castle, and they go, oh, the enemy's there, and they come in and join the combat, and it's like, oh, you dense motherfucker. Just stay over there. And again, this isn't a problem if you're a governor or or just straight up the leader of your force. You get to control the whole battlefield, so you can just be like, stay over there. However, that then requires me having to do more work when I'm not in combat.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I can see how that would be frustrate.
Yeah, it's a great game. Combat AI could use a bit of work.
Prime modding potential, if someone cares.
Oh, it's one of those. It's not the end of the world. It's just... And also, sometimes my force will attack someone on the opposite side of our country.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the unit strengths and the amount of officers we have compared to them, and I'm like, how did you not crush them? You had twice the troops and double the officers. You should absolutely swamp them. And it's like, I don't fucking know, man. And they're led by Lu Bu. I've seen his unit stats. He's got 500 strength.
Yeah.
Mine's got like 230. That's the context here.
Yep. And that's the character that you've been building all this time.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, it's one of those. The AI is dumb. I don't like it. I've got to work around it. The golden joysticks happened, so before I throw it over to Rick for his week, we're going to have a look at that, aren't we?
Yes, we are. We've both got a list open, thanks to you.
Yeah, it's not a problem. These happened literally yesterday as of recording. Like, half of these were already resolved by the time I found out they were on, and I was like, oh, cool, we should probably mention these. So,
Yeah.
Rick, you've got a better voice than I do, so why don't you list the awards, and if we want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
Sure. So, Best Audio Design, Astrobot.
Yeah, I've not touched this.
Yeah, me either. Best Soundtrack, FF7 Rebirth, and Best Storytelling, FF7 Rebirth. So apparently this is the one where it really starts to diverge from the actual FF7 story. So I'll be interested to play it when it comes to PC.
Yeah, I think Square shot themselves in the foot with that deal.
Yeah, it's so crap, because now by the time that FF16 has come out on PC, it's now so old that I don't care. And apparently that's a poor choice, because apparently it's the best thing they've done in quite some time.
I think the gameplay is great. I think the story is okay. The story isn't Final Fantasy. It's got Final Fantasy in it, but it's not Final Fantasy. At least not to me.
Sure. So it's just a standard Western tropes story that happens to have Ifrit.
It feels like if Game of Thrones was a Final Fantasy.
Sure.
And I think that's the best compliment I can give it, story-wise.
Yeah, because the books stop before it gets shit. Best multiplayer game, Helldivers 2.
By all accounts, this game deserves all the accolades that it qualifies for.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have it, and I feel like I've missed the boat. However, apparently everything that seems to be time locked in this game is not actually time locked. It's just, okay, this was an event, and now that faction is now available to everybody.
Oh, fair enough then.
Best visual design, Black Myth Wukong.
This game looks beautiful. I'm generally tempted to maybe grab it at some point in the future when it's on sale.
Yeah, ditto. I saw it when it was in development, and I was like, man, how is this playable? And it turns out, they were working with very, very good stuff back then that was like approaching PS5 dev kit level, and then now we're a couple of years into the PS5, and yeah, that's how. Best indie game, Balatro.
I don't know what this is.
This is the it's like a poker game, but like you get modifiers as you progress. Like, okay, jacks now cause you to draw 3, or like tens count as tens or ones or whatever.
That's wild, but okay, fair enough, man.
Yes, so it's like deck building but with poker.
I hate deck building games. Is the problem.
Yeah. A lot of people that play it are really into it, so yeah, power to them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Best indie game self-published, Another Crab's Treasure. This is Sea Souls.
I know, it's on my wish list because it looks so good and is also really goofy.
Yeah. Studio of the Year, Team Asobi for Astrobot.
I don't know why Astrobot is getting so many accolades. There's got to be a reason.
Apparently it's, well, people like it. These ones are voted by the people, so. Best lead performer, Cody Christian for Cloud in FF7 Rebirth.
Might as well do supporting at the same time.
Yeah, and best supporting performer, Brianna White for Aerith in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I don't doubt that both of them did a perfectly fine job.
I know that Brianna White was like a massive fan of Final Fantasy, and like Aerith is her favourite character before she got cast, so
well, good for her.
For being able to get it. Yep. Breakthrough Award, Critics' Choice is Balatro.
That's fair.
Still Playing Award for console and PC is Minecraft.
If this is is voted for by players, I'm absolutely unsurprised. However, at the same time, Minecraft does not deserve any awards anymore. I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Like, Pirate Software even brought up that they're so lazy with the updates. Like, the things that you vote on to add to the game, you could add in an afternoon, and yet they're just holding everything back to drum up buzz. The still playing award for mobile is Honkai Star Rail.
This game is ass. I don't like it. I mean, I was into Genshin for a while, but I didn't like it. I think I was swallowed up by the hype for Genshin. But Honkai, I was looking forward to Honkai when it was getting going to be able to be played on PlayStation. I played the first bit and I'm like, oh, it's a shit Persona.
Well, I don't mind that, and a lot of people actually prefer that to Genshin, especially if you're playing on mobile, because, the only controls that you have to do is just walking around a town, whereas when you get into a combat, you've got like a more gamified screen,
sure,
as opposed to having to control everything in real time, which is a bit of a fuck when you're on mobile.
Well, but don't forget, when Genshin first came out, it was melting people's phones.
Oh, yeah. Like, Genshin worked on my phone when I first got it. It now would not work on that phone. Yeah, the phone was like 60 degrees.
Yeah. The only reason why I'm not poo-pooing this getting the mobile award is I don't play mobile games. I don't actually know what the alternative is.
Yeah, it's probably frickin' Pokemon Go. PC Game of the Year, Satisfactory.
Yeah, you and I saw this, and we both had the same thought, and it's like, that game's been out for like 700 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, like, I thought these were meant to be for most things that were new, but apparently, yeah, this one gets a look in. Console Game of the Year, Helldivers 2.
I think maybe...
It was a problem when it became a console game. When
Sony
Sony decided they wanted to clamp down on it.
Just leaping back to the PC Game of the Year, I think the problem is there are so few games that are exclusively PC nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, they've got Helldivers 2 as the console game of the year, and that's not console exclusive.
No. As much as Sony wanted it to be.
They tried very hard to fucking kill that game.
Yeah. Well, to their credit, they are, the ones who helped publish it.
I don't care. That doesn't give them the right to do what they did.
Yeah. Most wanted game, GTA 6.
I can understand the people desiring this, especially seeing as Rockstar has milked GTA 5. They never have to make another game again if they don't want to.
No, they can just keep re-releasing GTA 5. It's now spanned 3 console generations.
Well, they don't even need to re-release it. It's just the online is just permanent. That's what they're making their money off of, and and everybody knows it. So much so that Red Dead 2's multiplayer died a gruesome, easy death because no one was paying as much for it. So they're like, fuck it, all the resources go back to GTA Online.
Yep. Critics' Choice, Helldivers 2.
Fine, fair.
Yep. Best game expansion, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree.
I totally agree with this. I think there should be a new category in the other more popular game awards because we're going to talk about that in a moment.
Yeah, exactly, because this has been added to the Game of the Year category, and this is the first time that DLCs have been added. Maybe just so that it can win, but we'll see. Best gaming hardware, the Steam Deck OLED.
Yeah, this is fair. I mean, it's really the only thing that's come out that's worth a damn this year, hardware-wise.
Yeah, pretty much. Because the other thing is what? The PS5 Pro? No, nobody's buying that.
Certainly no one wants it to win an award.
Yeah, the only people buying it are scalpers. Best early access game, Lethal Company.
I haven't touched this, I can't say.
Me either. Best game trailer, Helldivers 2.
I will say, I think they're wrong because it's Hades 2 that should be there.
Oh, the early access game, yeah.
Best game trailer, Helldivers 2, fine. I don't really pay much attention to trailers.
Yeah, I try to avoid trailers as much as I can, having shot myself in the foot already by telling people that I looked at the Black Myth Wukong pre-release material. Best game adaptation, Fallout. We both love this.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. I can't think of many other adaptations that came out this year that, even in general, that were good.
Yeah, because, they brought out the Yakuza series, and apparently that's just, soulless.
It's one of those ones where, the moment where I was like, fine, I will live and let live with it, but I'm not going to watch it, is they've been saying since the beginning, to give them credit, that it's going to be familiar characters done a different way, which means anyone who went into that series expecting it to be the games but brought onto screen was a fucking idiot.
Yeah. You're not going to have people, and you're not going to have suds, man.
Okay. By the way, we skipped over Streamer's Choice, which was chained together. I'm not familiar with this, but fair enough.
Oh, yes. I don't know about this either. And Ultimate Game of the Year, Black Myth Wukong. And they called it Ultimate Game of the Year to separate it from the Game of the Year awards from the Game of the Year awards.
Yeah, I'm also pretty confident that's why they called it that. It's basically this is the best game this year. This is what you voted for. And to be honest with you, I can see why. My only issues with Black Myth Wukong is the fact that the studio that made it are very greasy.
Yes. You've got a lot of the worst people in the world singing their praises because they have been doing things that agree with the worst people in the world.
Yeah. Apart from that, though, the game actually looks pretty solid and pretty fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a mechanic during a boss fight that I've been spoiled on, but I don't care because it's so cool and so fun. I won't spoil it for people, but it's funny and it's great.
Yeah. So, good stuff all around.
I've been playing High on Life.
Okay, what is this?
This is the Justin Roiland shoot bang.
Okay.
So it was one of the games for last month's Humble Bundle, or Humble Choice, so I got it because I've wanted to play that game for a while. Justin Roiland's personal assholishness aside. The game is a mixed bag, shall we say. I think the gameplay is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the concept of living guns. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, so do they have, like, personalities, I guess?
Yeah. The guns... They do that thing that a lot of games do nowadays, which is how often do you want the NPC to talk to you? It's in the options menu. And
okay, yeah, so
Kenny is the most annoying.
You can turn the frequency
gun.
up or down.
Kenny is the default gun, and it's just Justin Roiland doing Morty.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it doesn't have Morty's personality. He's just doing the Morty voice for it.
Okay, so he's more like Mr. Meeseeks or something.
No, it's not even that. It's just he's constantly yelling at you, and it's just like, could you shut the fuck up? Like, I don't want to turn the frequency down because the other guns are fun, but Kenny is annoying. But he's the basic pistol that you have for most of the game.
Sure.
You very quickly get the knife, which is also a living and sentient being, and it is 100% voiced by Cusack.
Sure.
Doing his Australian voice.
Hello, I'm going to stab you now.
Yeah, except he's much more of a mean bastard cunt about it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So much so that when you first grab him, he goes, Gene, yeah, come on, let's go, stab that fucker. And you can stab Gene, who is your NPC bounty hunter friend. And it's just like, you didn't stab me anywhere important, but fuck, you don't have to listen to the knife every time it tells you to stab something. So this is why it's a mixed bag, because some of the jokes are really funny, but most of the jokes are just really like, yeah, okay, you're Justin Roiland and this is your sense of humour, and it's fine for some folks, but I'm really not digging it. It's not my type thing.
Sure. So like sometimes it's funny, sometimes it feels very forced, kind of thing.
It's very season 1 Rick and Morty.
Right, okay. Which again was very hit and miss. Like episode 1, garbage. Every other episode has at least something fun about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of TV skits going on TVs all over the place, and it feels like you remember the interdimensional TV box bullshit where they straight up say
they just ad lib for like 3 hours worth of content, and then they just pick out the best stuff and animate that. Yeah,
so it feels like that is what they did for the TV skits, which is fine, but it's shit.
Two guys. It's just called Two Guys.
I mean, I really found funny the monster truck versus human, because when the guy breaks at the end and starts laughing, he goes, "How would the car ever lose?" It's the funniest part of the entire fucking skit. But they paid for a movie to just be in the game.
Okay.
Something about a T-Rex. It's on in the background when you talk to Gene almost all the fucking time, and sometimes you see a bit of tit.
Sure.
So it's one of those where like, whatever. There are parts of this game that are straight up just fucking irritating because they're trying to take the piss out of other games. They're like, oh, look at this boring mechanic from another game, and it's like, yeah, it is boring. Why are you making me do it for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
There's a part where you sit down and you have to do paperwork, Rick.
Oh boy.
You do it via a QTE.
Oh, okay. Being told that is funny. Having to do it, I assume, is not.
If you did it once, it would be fine. I'd be like, okay, that's a fun gag. They make you do it about 20 times.
Oh, fuck me.
And the entire time you've got background characters being goofy and having dialogue, and it's like, I can't pay attention to this. I want to get through this segment. It's boring. They have 3 whole bits dedicated to activating detective mode.
Yeah.
And I don't mind detective mode in games, so this one rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, but yeah, you do the detective bit, and by the time you collect all the evidence, which is really easy to find because you don't even really need a detective mode to highlight it, the character that is explaining detective mode to you goes, yeah, no, this isn't enough information to get anything. I'm going to open the door to the next room, and then you got to do it again. You do this 3 fucking times, and then the guy goes, oh yeah, cool, so while we were doing that, I was tracking the bad guy. He's over here, you can just follow your map now. And it's like, who is this for?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really annoying because the bog standard gameplay of shoot the gun and the transportation gimmicks that they've got in it, like you can use the knife to hang off stuff. Each gun has its own special ability, which when you're not in combat is infinite, and you can use it to traverse different geography. It's interesting and fun, but it's broken up by these random fucking bullshit segments that are just there to eat the clock, I guess.
Yeah, to make sure you can't return it within 2 hours.
And ironically enough, the first 2 hours are probably the most fun part of the game, despite the fact you've got Kenny fucking yelling at you for no reason. And the villain... by the way, the plot of the game is that Earth gets invaded by aliens who want to use humans as living drugs. That's why it's called High on Life.
Okay.
So, and you're a human, so yeah. And at some point, you talk to the big bad via computer screen, and he's like, I have your parents. Well, he doesn't actually say your parents, so they might not be that. But he says, we've got 2 people that are very special to you. I'm going to torture them, and blah, 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 blah. You never see the parents in the game at all. I don't care about these characters.
Yeah.
And I have a suspicion that the character we're controlling also doesn't give a shit. It's a very weird game. The last thing I will touch upon is there's an achievement really early on called Fallout Won't Let You Do This, where you get it for killing a child.
Okay.
Yeah, the kid's very annoying. He knocks you around a bunch and just calls you a piece of shit. And I'm like, yeah, okay. This again has Justin Roiland's writing written all over it.
Yeah.
And then 2 cop drones come and they start shooting at you. So I pull out. I don't even pull out Kenny. Kenny becomes active and I start shooting. And after the gunfight's finished, I just have Kenny going, man, we didn't need to do that, man, and blah 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 blah. Oh, he was just a kid. And I'm like, oh, did I shoot the kid? I did not do that on purpose. I was trying to shoot the drones, and and the kid is constantly in front of you, pushing you around, being an annoying little shit. And Kenny's just feels really bad about it. I'm like, I don't care because I didn't do it on purpose. And even if I did, it's a fucking video game. But slightly further in, you meet the kid's mother, and the kid's mother is just like, oh, I told that kid he was going to get shot one day. I said, if you keep going up there and calling people bitches and saying, yeah, shoot me, someone will shoot you. And also he was 30 years old, which is still a kid for our species. So, and it's just like, what? You've ruined your own joke.
Yeah.
Like, oh, jeez. Like, I didn't think it was particularly funny in the first place, but if I did find it funny, it's like, oh, they're just completely sandbagging it now. Very weird. Very weird. I think I've gotten all the guns. Potentially there's one more gun to unlock. I don't know. But I've only got 2 more bosses to fight if the bounty hunter board is to be believed.
Sure. So even if you do find them all, like, there's not much more game left to do with it, I assume.
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
At the moment, my current bounty is the number 2 person in the evil organization, which leads me to believe that the next boss will just be the end boss of the game.
Dokey.
So yeah, I'd buy this game if it was cheap, but otherwise I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, and I will just say, very colourful, very graphically okay.
Does it look like Rick and Morty, or is it...
Oh, it feels very Rick and Morty, but I wouldn't say it looks like Rick and Morty.
Okay. Because the last one that they did, I think it was like Topher Saves the World or something, that very much looked and felt like Rick and Morty without being Rick and Morty itself.
Oh, this feels like it could be a really long, bad Rick and Morty episode, but it doesn't look like one.
So, yeah, the whole thing is an interdimensional cable episode.
Oh, yeah. You've got a portal in your house that takes you to all the bounty targets.
Sure.
Oh, God, you just triggered a memory, because I only heard this the other day, where I was finding a bunch of mooks, and as I shot someone, they said, and I quote, sorry there's not more Rick and Morty references. And I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up.
Oh, Jesus.
2 weeks later.
I finished High on Life.
Ah, yes, the Justin Roiland game.
Yeah, the game ended about as well as I expected, truth be told. Like, it's a very pretty game, and the gameplay itself is fun. The writing could be better.
Sure.
The core concept's great. I really do like the idea of here's this alien species that are guns, and those are all they've got top tier designs for all 4 guns. You get a secret 5th gun that you can only use during the final boss, and it's super fucking overpowered because of course it is. But that's fun.
Yes.
The final boss sucked. It wasn't a fun boss fight because it just took mechanics from previous fights and did them again. The second to last boss fight was kind of interesting because it started off really boring, and then they drugged the player character, so everything
Right.
thing. But, yeah, you can do stupid fucking shit. Unfortunately, it was ruined ever so slightly from the character having a Rick voice. So
Right, okay.
but, you know, you can't have everything. They made a joke about Psycho Mantis in Metal Gear, and I was like, that's a solid reference, I suppose. And they're like, they're going like, oh, we don't know how to scan your memory card in this day and age, so we're just going to say Fortnite or Minecraft, 200 hours in Minecraft. And that's a good joke. Doesn't really work on me because I don't play those games, but it's a fun
Or at least, yeah. At least you've not played Minecraft in like 10 years.
certainly not on that machine.
No.
But yeah, you know, it was a fun joke. There's a bit where he goes, I'm going to hack into your account now. I'm going to give you an achievement for wasting 15 hours in an alien strip club. And the achievement popped up for that. And I was so curious as to how that achievement existed and how so many people had it.
Sure.
It's because you get it during this boss fight, because it's like, fuck, everyone's going to think you spent 15 hours being a pervert. And it's like, the campaign's not that long. You can beat this game in less than 15 hours very easily.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was a fun boss fight. Like, I'm ragging on it a little bit, but it was fun. The final boss fight had 2 phases, which is unique for this game because I don't think anything else actually did. As in, it had 2 health bars.
Okay.
Yeah, the first phase was... this boss is trivialized by the fact that you have the Super Mega Ultra Gun.
Right, okay. So it's balanced around that.
Yeah, I guess. I guess that's the way I put it. Like, this fight would have taken a lot longer if you didn't have the final ultimate gun, which is called Let's Do It, by the way.
Sure.
So yeah, you beat the first phase and you have to put a bomb inside the creature. I had Morty, the gun, fucking shouting at me saying, what are you doing? Put the thing inside it. Just stick your hand up this alien's asshole and all that shit. And I was like, there is no prompt. My game bugged out.
Yeah.
So I reset the checkpoint, and thank fuck, they put a checkpoint after the first phase was done. So it put me straight there, and the prompt was there to shove you. The big joke is you have to fist the final boss and just put this explosive in, and
right up his butthole.
Literally, the joke was that.
Literally the gag from the very first episode of Rick and Morty, right up in your butthole, right up there.
Yep. If you recall last week, I said that they were threatening the player character's parents, and then I corrected myself saying technically they said your favourite people in the world. Yeah, it turns out the favourite people were Jack Black and some fucking other celebrity who I have no idea who they are.
Sure.
And whoever did the Jack Black impression did a really good Jack Black impression, because it sounded like Jack Black.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then they kill Jack Black in front of you.
Aww.
And the other person as well, whose name escapes me because I generally don't know who they are.
Sure.
But yeah, that was that big joke. You eventually win. They do a fun little... during the closing credits, they have a bunch of Polaroids showing fun shit that happens after the game's finished. That's about it, really. I got this game because it happened to be one of the humble choices, and it's a game I wanted for a while, so I was like, fuck it, I'll spend £9 on these 10 games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd recommend it if you could get it at a discount.
Yeah, good shit.
This is Series 2, Episode 11, Mastermind.
Yeah, so this was a lot of fun.
Fun is certainly the word. Fun is part of the word. Another part is it was also kind of annoying.
Oh yeah, totally.
I think this episode suffers heavily from the fact that we've done this.
We kind of have. That said, I found Stella incredibly amusing in this episode.
She was on screen for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, but like after she got like chewed out for, having the keys to their success all this time, she just goes, "Well, don't yell at me."
I honestly, this has just cemented the total failure of Stella as a character, in my opinion. Because from the beginning of the series, she was really set up to be like, no, she is going to be a foil. She is going to be the reason why Stolas gets completely fucked. She puts on a bit airs, but she's got something going on, and it's just like, if you didn't know already from the last episode she showed up in, we're just going to cement it here that no, Stella's worthless and stupid and an idiot.
Yeah, she's an absolute bird brain, and I think it makes her funnier because of it.
You're allowed to think she's funny. I just think it's a waste of a character.
Yeah, maybe so.
You know.
So the big takeaway is that Octavia is now property of Stella alone, and that's the real downside of this episode. Everything else is basically an upside in disguise.
There's a few things I want to mention. I'm going to get the downers out of the way first, because on the whole I'm high on the episode, but there's some real obvious standout. why. The first being that it feels like they skipped a bunch of steps.
I feel you.
And that they want to rush to Blitz and Stolas reconciling, so they've skipped a bunch of shit that should have probably happened first. And it's not the end of the world by any means. It feels very rushed to me. The second thing I want to talk about is the trial itself, and that is it's just Has Been Hotel again.
Yeah,
literally one for one. It's the exact. I think the creators have a real hard on for the courts and the justice system are fucked, which they are. But this is going to be a plot point in both your shows. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Go on.
I did like the song though. It was great.
Okay, I didn't care for the song very much. It was technically fine. The contents of the song, the sums were great. The whole was like the person who voices Stolas, like they've got a cracking singing voice. You really can't hate it. The lyrics are fine, but the standout was the animation during it.
Oh, totally. And did you also catch the statement of what in Lucifer's hell?
I didn't catch the statement, but I did like the zoom in on the chair. It just said BRB. I fucking loved as well that Satan is the de facto head of Haluva Boss because they can't use Lucifer because he's in a different show. So the way they get around this is the reasoning why Satan's in charge, and he says it himself, is I was here since before Golden Boy fell.
Yeah. So even if it is the same universe, which we all kind of know that it basically is, it's fine that they're not going to do outright crossovers, at least right now.
I highly suspect that part of the deal with Amazon says no, you can't have any characters crossover. Yeah,
maybe it might change after the show is over.
Oh, what, in 5 years?
I mean, maybe.
Whoopie-doo, I'll be dead by then. Anyway, we finally get to see all the 7 sins.
Yeah, we do.
We got introduced to Belphegor, Leviathan, and Satan. Satan is by far the coolest design.
Yeah, he is, partly because he's massive.
I was going to say, like, it does look like a 12-year-old drew him.
Yeah. It's also nice to see that our Sin Dukes that we know of are all kind of on the let's not fuck over our guy train.
If you pretend Mammon doesn't exist.
Well, okay.
Mammon didn't even care about fucking over Blitz or saving Blitz or whatever. He just wanted the thing to be over so he could eat.
Yeah. And then he barely waited for that even.
The Twitter people were going nuts over I love how the sin of gluttony is disgusted by how Mammon eats.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think, weirdly enough, my favourite scene was when Blitz had his head against the headsman's block, basically. It's very easy to not get that emotionally invested in this scene because we've all seen cartoons. We know the protagonist isn't going to die. Certainly not halfway through an episode.
Yeah, not halfway through an episode and not before a season finale.
Absolutely. I absolutely loved how it's like we're going to broadcast this to all imps everywhere. Which, by the way, if they'd have killed Blitz in that moment, given the reaction we got at the end of the episode, they absolutely would have made a martyr.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like they basically already have a living martyr in Blitz at this point.
It's a bit weird, but yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he's an icon, and if they want to rally around someone, he's right there.
But yeah, the fact that they're putting his head on the thing, they're broadcasting it, they're cutting to a bunch of rando imps. They cut to Verosica, who is like, fuck, I don't want him to die. But they also cut to Fizz, and then Fizz is furiously texting, Ozzy, Oz, do something, Oz.
Yeah, and Ozzy's like literally right there, so and he's having to poker face it.
Yeah, it's really an adorable moment. One of the things that, again, the only reason it makes sense is because they're going for all courts are fucked up and skewed towards certain results, and blackmail and bribery and basically everything's corrupt. They're going for that angle, and I get it, but it's like we got this one imp who says that this other imp did it, and that's good enough for me.
Yep, apparently.
Like, why is one imp's word better than another's when you look down on all of them equally?
Yeah, well, I guess it's because they do actually have evidence against Blitz, just,
all of that evidence only works with Stryker's testimony.
Fair enough, but like what did happen is that he did have the book, and if they've got record of it being used, then...
But that's not what got him killed. This is before the book was even really a big factor. This was about... the reason why he was being put to death is because he was being accused of attempting to kill Stolas, not because he stole his book.
Yeah, fair enough. And And meanwhile, I do actually really like the new Goetia guy that we get.
Yeah, so his name is Visago, and that's the character I was telling you about where everyone on Twitter has been going nuts for him for about half a year.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yes,
he's cool, and he only has like 5 lines.
He does, but he makes an impression with them.
Yeah, he seems to be the only member of the Goetia who actually likes Stolas.
Yeah, and I think he's also one of the only ones that voted against execution as well.
I don't think there was a vote for execution. Satan just decided.
Yeah.
You got to bear in mind, I don't think Visago gave one shit about Blitz. His entire motivation was, why is Stolas not here if this trial involves Stolas?
Yeah, which is a very pertinent question.
It's a very pertinent question. However, if you're taking, I want to say his name's Adolphus or Astolphus or something, the ice bird.
Yeah, the blue lad, yeah.
He, if you take him at face value, his argument makes sense. However, we as viewers know that he's lying.
Yeah, because, we've seen what he wants, and we even see what he wants in the trial because he makes no attempt to poker face himself.
Yeah, that's also the other confusing thing is Satan should be more observant in that regard.
Well, the other option is maybe Satan doesn't care because if people beneath him are backstabbing each other, they're not backstabbing him.
I don't think Satan can physically be backstabbed.
Yeah, maybe, but if there's enough of them, maybe. If every demon equals Satan, then if every demon did team up, they probably could be able to get him at some point, but
we've seen enough demons that we know goddamn well every demon won't team up.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that it's just more security for him. It stops him being bothered about it if all the other demons are just at each other's throats at all times.
I think at this point we're adding far too much motivation to something that doesn't need to be added to.
Yeah, he's Satan.
That's pretty much it. He is the biggest and baddest demon. He is the alpha dog in this scenario because Lucifer's not around.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Going back to the blue bird, the ice bird man. His argument of I didn't bring Stolas because I didn't want to bring up bad memories and bad flashbacks and make him feel anxious and nervous after being used and abused by this imp. And if you take him at face value, which the court does because the plot needs to happen, that actually does make sense.
It does.
However, again, as viewers with all the information, we know we're going to be on Visago's side.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, even Beelzebub would be this is, that's not true.
Well, Beelzebub
I saw that guy.
Beelzebub doesn't know that part of it, but when they sentence, or about to sentence Blitz, she does speak up. We both saw the episode. She says, yeah, no, this guy's a bit of an animal, but, he's cool.
Yeah. Especially by her standards of, he's a party animal. Just the fact that when Stolas gets sentenced, he puts his head down on the guillotine, and Satan's like, "What are you doing? You're rich."
But it's a bit more than just being rich, though, isn't it? It's the fact that he's nobility, so therefore his life has merit.
Yeah, you're a Goetia. Your life has meaning.
Yeah, no, the implication is that you can kill 1,000 imps and no one will bat an eye, but kill one person with an ounce of blue blood. Yeah, this is very much a temporary exile as far as demons are concerned. He's being exiled or banished for 100 years, which
it's like 3 months house arrest.
It's not like free. Stolas is only 36.
Oh, is he actually 36? Okay, I thought he was I thought they were Disgaea ages in that they were all in the hundreds or something.
Well, he was a kid at the same time as Blitz.
Yeah, true.
So they've obviously aged at the same rate.
Yep.
And Via's only 16.
Sure.
Oh, and let's talk about that for a second. Is as far as Olivia's concerned, Stolas is dead because all she saw on the TV was him putting his neck on that fucking headsman block. She tried to get out of the room, and Stella was like, "No, you stay here." So I'm gonna go with the assumption that at the moment Via thinks Stolas has been killed.
Yes. It's probably going to be Luna that brings her around on that and just
What makes you think Luna's going to visit her?
Because they're actually pretty friendly with each other.
They're friendly with each other, but that doesn't mean they hang out with each other. And I think for damn sure Stella and her brother are not going to be allowing any visitors anytime soon.
Which is entirely the reason that Luna will break in.
I think you're putting a lot of stock in Luna here.
Yeah, I think she's been having character growth, and I think having her first actual friend is going to she's gonna I think that the camaraderie of IMP is going to rub off on her, and she's going to be I want to apply that.
We've seen the two interact once. We don't know that they even kept in contact after that moment. I'm not saying
True
you're
enough.
wrong. It's just you got to make a lot of leaps here. So many leaps that it's almost jumping into Fanon.
Yes, it's a triple jump. I'm going into fan comic territory.
But yes, nobody likes Stolas. They're throwing garbage at him in the streets, and Blitz is trying. He's like, "Can we knock it off with the garbage?"
Yeah, and like I think he's the only person that would like get that to succeed because
he
like,
didn't
it's
know.
mostly imps chucking. Yeah, fair enough. Like,
Even after he said that, Stolas got more sludge dumped on him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those weird ones where everyone's cheering Blitz on the walk home, and everyone's throwing shit at Stolas, and Stolas just looks so pathetic. Whoever drew him did a really good job.
Yep, and had to be told twice: do not inhale the water in the bath.
Yeah,
it's not often you get something repeated in a cartoon.
that's true, actually. So yeah, Stolas is going to be chilling at the Imp headquarters for a while. I don't think for a second that he's actually going to be banished for 100 years. I think Imp is going to shift their priority to trying to, one, clear their name properly, and two, get Stolas back in charge.
Yeah.
But I don't think Stolas wants that. I think Blitz will see that he needs it.
It's probably going to be less about Stolas being in charge and more about ousting Iceman, whose name has also escaped me again.
I know his name. I just don't. I can't remember which if it's Adolphus or it's not Astolphus. I don't think, but yeah, it's one of those. It's that sort of name.
Yeah. Or like I should know a lot of Goetian things because like I have read the list of names of the Goetia, but like one of them is just Amy.
Oh yeah, you're basically a fucking scholar.
Yeah.
Rick, I know like a weird amount of demon names, not because of anything scholarly, but because I've played SMT and Persona.
Yeah, like Neberos and Amaduskias.
You've got people like Berith, and I believe you even have Stolas in fucking Persona at times.
Yeah,
but Berith is part of the Ars Goetia. It's all
and Ose.
But yeah, man, the balls on Blitz for a split second to say, actually, sir, the O's silent to Satan. Actually, I think he starts saying it, and because Satan's just glaring at him, he just goes, "You know what? The O's fine."
The O is there. The O is there.
Oh god. But yeah, it's
like to be fair, it is kind of like an ingrained response to it being said. Although he did actually say, "Actually, sir," so like he is actually thinking about it, and then thinks better of it.
It's one of those early season jokes as well, where in season 1 he's introducing himself to a client, and he goes, "The name is Blitz. The O is silent," and there's like there's a beat before the client goes, "What O?" Because if you don't know, it's like, well, where the fuck is there an O in that name?
Yeah, because if you've not read it, yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so. Just other than that, I'm excited to see how things progress from here because, like, it seems to be like a darkest hour for Stolas in particular that's just going to get better as things go on.
I mean, Stolas literally cannot be knocked down any lower.
Stolas can't be knocked down any lower. Other people can, but generally it feels like a darkest hour of this season that we can now start to come back from, and I like a good acceleration to a climax, you know?
Sure.
Any more final thoughts?
Yeah, like, I had a few gripes, but, like, I've had a few gripes with almost every single episode this season. It is what it is. I'm definitely still a fan of Haluva Boss, and I'm very much looking forward to see what comes next. I just hope they don't rush it. Because, again, these last couple of plot points feel incredibly rushed, and part of that is because they kind of could have done this at any time.
I get you. But I think the reason they've not done it, the reason they've not done the whole trial thing earlier is just because they wanted us to have like an investment in the Stolitz drama.
But I'm just saying the Stolitz drama needed more drama. Fuck, we had one episode where Blitz was just going around a hotel wanting to fuck a ghost, and that was him. Yeah. That was him trying to cope, and I get it was him trying to cope. But when you go from that to this, it's a bit of a tonal whiplash.
Oh, it definitely is. But like we have the benefit of we've got the time in between episodes, so for us we've had like physical time to process things. The characters kind of haven't, but also it's implied that some time is passing in between everything anyway, so that's
my point being is I wanted to see the characters mope more. I wanted to see them experience their fucked upness. Like with Stolas in particular, we saw him do a very brief rebound date at the end of an episode, and that's it.
Yeah. And Verosica going, just Wish him well. Hope he gets laid.
It's very unsatisfying as a viewer. That's all I'm saying. And again, I'm still high on the series. There are things that could have been better.
Yeah, true.
That's my closing thoughts.
True.
Let's move on with our lives.
Cheating has been alleged after King Conker, the world men's conker champion, was found with a steel chestnut.
You're going to have to elaborate. Where was this steel chestnut found?
It was found in his pocket. And what he's actually accused of, because he has vehemently denied using the steel chestnut for playing conkers with, is for marking the strings of the blind bag of duelist conkers that he helped to prepare.
No. You see, this is where the competition's already flawed. You shouldn't have someone who's actively competing do the prep work.
Yeah, I think the idea was that because he is already the world champion, and I think he's like 78 years old, that he was kind of above suspicion, but apparently he was marking the strings so he could pull out either ones that he knew were good, or ones that he knew he hadn't already tampered with.
But it's the classic blunder of everyone in these competitions. They're like, this person's so good, they're the top of their game. They have no need to cheat, so we don't need to suspect them. And then they can get away with cheating because they want to stay at the best and to be the best. I'm not saying everybody does this. I'm just saying you don't know what competitive people can be like.
Yeah, look at Mr. Satan.
I don't think
a
that's
charlatan trying to stay on top of his game, and will bribe anyone to to throw a match to let him stay there.
Yeah, I don't think that's a fair comparison. That's a fucking cartoon. There's so many real life examples you can point to.
Oh yeah, and Mr. Satan is a lot more lovable and actually saved the universe.
Yeah, by being Hulk Hogan, which I'm sure Hulk Hogan, the real Hulk Hogan, wishes he could be.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought this was a funny story to bring up.
Like, fuck me. What's the prize money like in conkers?
I don't think it's that much even. I think it's just like prestige, because like, who's doing conkers in the year of our Lord 2024?
Listen, if the prize money was high enough, I'd fucking play conkers.
Yeah.
And I can't play conkers. I'm shit at it.
Yeah.
But it's a very low effort, low stakes sort of game, you know?
Yeah, you bash your opponent's basher with your basher until one of the bashers gets bashed.
Man, you bringing it up, I remember a comic strip from the Bash Street Kids, where they tricked the teacher by finding a bunch of conkers, and they went, we should just have a conkers tournament, and the teacher was like, actually, this could teach us math, but in reality, he just wanted to referee a bunch of conker fights, and the smart kid ended up winning by accident, because he just had a really good conker by luck, because of course he's the fucking class tough, and everyone would whack his conker, and their conker they're whacking with would just crack. Cubert wouldn't even need to fucking swing his conker, and then it ended with Danny eventually won by trickery. He got Fatty to eat his conker.
Yeah.
And he got Smithy to hit himself in the head with his conker, so of course the conker broke.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh man.
Bash Street Kids was fun, that's all I'm saying.